The Fly. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Witchfinger Horror Podcast. We're getting all Cronenberged up for tonight. Cronenberging up. I'm even drinking Cronenberg beer on purpose for this episode. This is going to be a good one. My name is Yasmina. To my right is Morgan.
Hello.
To my left is Megan.
Hello.
And yes, tonight we are watching The Fly.
Ooh, we're not just watching it, we are embarking on a journey.
We're living it. We are it. Yeah. Well, I'm pretty excited for this episode. This is going to be a really good episode. I have a lot of information about David Cronenberg, so for all y'all Cronenberg fans, you're gonna enjoy this one for sure. He's definitely one of my all-time favorite directors. He's a genius.
He is. Like, he actually genuinely is. I'm pretty sure.
He's a genius.
He's an artistic
genius.
For sure. Yeah, like, there's so much information about this movie in particular, and also because the stars of the movie have such interesting lives as well. I feel like there is so much information that we have to pack into this one episode. It's gonna be all over the place.
It'll be huge.
It's going to be huge.
Yeah, like, not just about The Fly, but we're gonna get into Jeff Goldblum, and we're gonna get into David Cronenberg, and there is a lot to say about David Cronenberg, because in my opinion, he's definitely just in the history of film a very, very important director.
Yeah, and he actually, he's been, I don't know, anything that I've ever seen, he makes the top lists of the top directors of all time.
Yeah, for sure.
Lists all the time.
He's in a lot of lists that are like in lists of movies that you have to watch before you die.
Yep.
Very, very important.
Influential
filmmaker, for sure, definitely. Like, I fucking adore him. But yeah, so The Fly was released in 1986. It was directed...
Hell of a year!
You shocked me!
Aliens came out, hell of a year.
I was fucking born. Shout it!
Oh, well, I mean, that too.
Well, then you should be proud that you're born the same year that Aliens came out.
I am.
Game over, man.
That's how I came out of my mother.
Just like an alien.
Just like
like a chest burster.
Yeah. Well, this was obviously directed by David Cronenberg. It was co-written by him as well, loosely based on the short story by George Lanigan from the June 1957 Playboy issue.
Wait, he wrote the story for
Playboy. Yeah.
Interesting.
Very erotic.
Yeah, so, like, you can find it in a collection of short stories, like sci-fi short stories, but it was first published in Playboy.
Interesting.
Yeah,
and then made
I
into
love
a
that.
movie with Vincent Price.
Yeah.
Afterwards. Have you guys, Megan,
I
probably
watched
have.
it doing research.
I was going to say, I just remember the, like, fly head and just being like, I can't take this movie seriously. But it's, like, super 50s cheese.
Yeah.
Like, sci-fi kind of stuff.
For those people who haven't seen it, if you've seen that Treehouse of Horror episodes of The Simpsons where Bart turns into the fly,
That's
a good one.
Very fucking similar.
Yeah. Well, the first movie, so it was made in 1958, and it was followed by 2 sequels. I'm a big Vincent Price fan, and Vincent Price is barely in the first one. He's in Return of the Fly more, because at the end of The Fly, doesn't, like, the son dies, and then in the second one, Vincent Price, the father, investigates and wants to figure out, like, what happened. So Vincent Price is more in the second one. So I do like that one more. But when this Fly, the 1986 one, came out, Jeff Goldblum actually wrote a letter to Vincent Price and said to him, I hope you like it as much as I liked yours.
Oh, God.
And Vincent replied after seeing the movie, and he said the movie was wonderful up to a certain point, then it went a little too far.
Yeah. Well, he was like...
It was a little too much for
He was like an
Vincent.
old guy, you
Yeah.
know? And he, like... I'm sure.
Like any Cronenberg movie is shocking to, like, a normie.
Oh yeah, apparently at the first Toronto screening, people vomited.
That's awesome.
You know,
I don't know if it's legend.
There's always vomit hearsay.
Yes, but you know what?
Every new The Blair Witch Project came out, you're gonna barf.
But you know what though? As if there's vomit legend attached to a movie, it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good one.
Well,
right?
I was gonna say Bite. That's our friend Chad's movie Bite.
Black Fawn.
When that came out, people barfed at TIFF.
Yeah.
And then that's how I heard about it, because it was all over the news, and it was just like,
part.
oh,
yeah, someone got up and like then puked in the aisles. It's crazy.
And actually, I think that happened at The Exorcist as well back in the 70s.
I think
and
The Exorcist
somebody
was a
passed
big
Well,
one.
The Exorcist, because it was such a turning point in horror, like no one had ever seen that before. Like I can remember my mom telling me that she went and saw it on a date with my dad before they were even married, and she said that they went and saw the movie, and then they were staying at their family cottage, and they slept with the lights on for days because it was that. Shocking, that terrifying.
My dad saw it in theaters. I remember he told me, and there were like ambulances that were like waiting outside of the theaters, like just in case like people had heart attacks and shit.
Like that's the type of thing where it's like
we're in a
changes
place
everything.
where like nothing's groundbreaking anymore.
I know.
There's no ceiling to smash or whatever it is.
Well,
I think it's with shock value
came out, though, and like that person.
No, but I mean,
there,
like The Exorcist started a whole genre.
Yeah,
like we've pretty much tapped out. There's no more shock value. I mean, Society would have been one, but that's like again. Now that Society's out in public, what is there left to do?
Well,
you know?
I will discuss that later, because in my notes, like I have like very honorable like body horror mentions, and there are movies out there that still definitely are like groundbreaking, that have those effects. For sure, but it definitely still happens. But it's definitely like The Exorcist would be the top movie that I think that like kind of started that trend, like because it was like very fucking shocking. Like even when I watched it when I was a kid, I was mortified and like couldn't sleep like for like fucking days.
If Serbian film is a movie, what's more fucked up than that?
Dude,
like,
I know.
That's true.
God, I know.
That's true.
How can you go further?
Newborn porn.
Right? Moving right along.
All right.
Geena Davis, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's give it up for
Geena
Geena
Davis. She's beautiful.
But yeah,
She's
so
fantastic.
an opera was made of The Fly in 2008 in Paris that was also directed by David Cronenberg, and it was also scored by Howard Shore, who also scores all of David Cronenberg's movies except for one. So he does the scores for the Lord of the Rings movies as well. And so the budget was $15 million, and box office made over $60 million.
That's huge.
Yeah,
that is so huge, especially mid 80s. Like a horror movie. It's a big deal. For sure.
IMDb gives it a 7.5, which I'm like, but Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 91%. Yeah, which I can agree with. And originally, it was intended to be directed by Tim Burton, and I'm so happy that it wasn't.
I'm happy that a lot of things.
I'm sorry.
Didn't pan out.
There was a lot of stuff. That I was shocked.
There's
and
a lot of shocking things about this movie.
Interested about like some of the casting that they had like thought about, and like what Fox originally had sort of pushed for, like certain actors and stuff. Like they didn't think that Jeff Goldblum was a bankable star.
Yeah, he wasn't like, they didn't want him because he wasn't as big of a star. But so Michael Keaton and Richard Dreyfuss were offered the role.
You know what? I can see both of them. Not doing it as successfully, but I can actually see them. Like Michael Keaton,
Michael Keaton is a fantastic actor, for sure.
Richard Dreyfuss, he's funny.
Yeah, for sure.
He's goofy.
But they declined, and John Lithgow auditioned.
Mm-hmm. Mel Gibson was also considered,
but he turned it down to do Lethal Weapon. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine like The Fly by with an Australian accent?
No, you know what? I think that everything with this movie worked out exactly the way that it needed to, because I think that Jeff Goldblum has this like endearing, like he's supposed to be like a scientific genius, and he's kind of quirky, and I think that adds to the whole thing. And also his quirkiness, once he starts transforming, helps to add to the character as he's turning into the Fly. The tics and stuff, it's very unnerving.
I think
but
they did
it's
that
something
on purpose
that
with the makeup too, because they made the makeup like asymmetrical as well to make it look even more abnormal. Yeah, his tics and movements and stuff like definitely.
Well, and he's got such big eyes already.
I know, and he's huge. He's like 6'4", which is insane.
Man.
I know.
Sorry,
tall men though. I know, tall men.
So hot.
No, and you know, especially in this movie, he's like he worked out really hard. You can tell because like he used to be kind of like a creepier thin guy. Like a lot of his earlier movies, he's like creepy Slender Man guy. But like he like in the scenes where he takes his shirt off and shit, like you can tell he like worked really really hard for this role, because I assume it would be a physical role.
Yeah,
and he just looks great.
Yeah,
I think it was like the beginning almost, because after this, I feel like his shirt is unbuttoned in every movie. From here on out, he has like a little bit of like chest hair poking out.
Oh, when he's in Jurassic Park, like Ian Malcolm. Oh my God,
to die for. Stop. dig up dinosaurs.
Oh my god.
Black shirt, black pants, black
I know.
jacket.
And he put that leather jacket on, and then it never came off ever again. He
I know.
still wears it.
I love
he still
that he's
does.
still fucking. I love the way that he dresses now. Like
fabulous.
He's so fucking fabulous.
I think the kids would say he's daddy as fuck.
Really?
What fucking kids?
Kids say these names.
Ew, really? Oh my god,
He's
so
like a solid
I
man.
didn't know that. That's so funny. Well, we're gonna fucking go meet him this August because he's coming to Fan Expo in Toronto, and I'm subscribed to the emails because I will immediately buy a photo op.
Oh, I will
because
pay money.
We have
I'll
to
pay money.
We have to meet him.
Yeah, he's
Morgan
fabulous.
is infatuated with Jeff Goldblum.
He's fabulous. Look at his hair.
He's your boyfriend.
I would, whatever.
Yeah.
Even now,
Oh,
he's
dude,
like
he's-
old as fuck, but I
Oh,
would.
he's gorgeous.
I would.
Gorgeous, though.
No,
He's
he's
a
aged
silver
very.
fox.
He's aged
Gorgeous.
very
Oh
well.
fuck,
He's
aged
65
very-
years old,
He
guys.
aged so well.
His
He
voice
could be
just,
my
he
dad.
Can, if
That's
he just
so
talk
weird.
to me, like just speak. Like
I know.
fuck.
With his like
He'd be like,
hesitation speaking. I just love it.
in the way that he speaks.
Okay, well,
Okay, yeah.
so The Fly was produced by Stuart Kornfeld, who co-owns Readour Productions with Ben Stiller, which is the same company that did Tropic Thunder. And actually kind of funny, you know the character that Tom Cruise plays?
Yes.
It's based off of Stuart Kornfeld, apparently.
Is
That's
it
like how
really?
he acts.
Really?
Yeah. So
He's
they like
out there.
I know.
Interesting.
So, just a like fun trivia. Stewart had a small role in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which I thought that was kind of interesting because Eric Stoltz also has a small role in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and he is in The Fly too.
The Fly too.
So I thought that was like a cool connection. But yeah, so there's a lot of interesting trivia and facts about the pre-production of The Fly.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's pretty interesting. Like it's almost hellish. Like when you're reading it, you're just like, holy fuck,
Yeah,
man.
because
like how many different scripts
it
did they go
starts
through and like
in the early
different
80s.
people.
Yeah, and it's like it was rewritten so many times, different producers, some
Different
people said
writers,
no.
Yeah.
And it literally, I mean, it came out in 86, and it's like if it started in the early 80s, I assume it was like 5 years at least before things really actually started to take off with it.
Yeah, well, Charles Pogue wrote the screenplay, and so him and Stuart Kornfeld, they decided to make the metamorphosis gradual as opposed to instantaneous like in the short story and the original movie. But then the executives at 20th Century Fox, they didn't like the script, so they withdrew from the project. So then Stewart negotiated and they agreed they would distribute it if he got funding elsewhere. So then he got Mel Brooks's company as a producer, and Mel Brooks actually removed his name from the project because he didn't want people going to the movies like thinking that it was going to be like a cheesy like Mel Brooks like comedy.
Yeah, like
style
honestly,
movie.
my mind was blown when I saw that Mel Brooks was a
He was,
producer
like,
on
yeah.
this because Mel Brooks is a legend, obviously in Hollywood, all of his movies, but he's known for a certain style, and
Yeah,
it's
like-
a comedic slapstick kind of like silly kind of thing. And I mean, obviously, he has a great eye because if he produces movies like this, but I can see why he would want to do that because people would just think that maybe that's
but I
what
guess
they were
like
getting.
Mel Brooks didn't like Charles's script. So Charles was fired, and then this guy Waylon Green was hired to do a rewrite. But Stewart, the other producer, like he didn't like it at all. So they rehired Charles back. And just
like-
convinced
it's
Mel, like I know, right?
They
So
don't
just
like it. They
convinced
do
him.
like it.
I
Oh,
know.
we realized we made a mistake. Bring the old guy back in.
Yeah.
Like it's like what the fuck.
So David Cronenberg was Mel Brooks and Stuart Kornfeld's like first choice to direct, but he was attached to direct Total Recall.
Isn't that fucked?
Which actually, I ended up reading like the entire trivia on Total Recall, and that movie was even more of a clusterfuck to make as
Really?
well. Like that script ended up going through 42 changes.
Oh my god.
And apparently he wanted to cast William Hurt as Quaid.
Okay.
And
I can see it.
yeah,
maybe.
so like even you should read about like how Total Recall was the pre-production. It's like it was such a clusterfuck. So they at this time, because David Cronenberg was supposed to direct Total Recall, they went with Robert Bierman, who is the guy who directed Vampire's Kiss.
Yes. Oh my god. Oh my god. But unfortunately, Bierman had a lot of problems in the early stages with that.
So he had to leave the project because unfortunately his daughter died.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she was killed in an accident while his family were vacationing in South Africa. Yeah, so then he obviously had to go to be with his family.
This movie was just a bunch of circumstances that panned out for the benefit of the movie.
Yeah,
it worked out.
I mean, it was like a bunch of shitty situations, and I'm not trying to take away from that, but like,
no.
Thank God.
Thank
Goldblum for that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because, like, in talking about David Cronenberg directing Total Recall, so that means, like, Total Recall came out in 1990. That means that Total Recall was literally in the works for like 10 fucking years.
Yeah,
I can see that.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's a great movie. I just rewatched it like last week, the week before.
I've seen that movie
it's a great movie
times.
in its own right, and I think, you know, you can't really picture something any other way, but I think that if David Cronenberg had his hands on it, it would have been an entirely different take on the movie.
I think that what Paul Verhoeven did is not that far away from what David Cronenberg would have done.
But he would have Cronenberged it up.
He would have Cronenberged it up, but there are some Cronenbergy aspects in Total Recall.
Yeah.
Quados. Like, that's very Cronenbergy in itself.
Like,
but
the mutant aspect of things, I think he would probably have gravitated
I think
towards.
that it would have been interesting if he would have done it, but but Paul Verhoeven, I feel like he did it like almost like not just like a Cronenberg-y kind of movie, but it does have that feel already, so he did a good job.
I feel like if Cronenberg had have stepped in at one point or another, he would have, even if the movie was finished, completely finished, I feel like in his head, he would have looked at it and gone, I need to get rid of Arnold. You know, because he's so silly, and I feel like Cronenberg...
he wouldn't have hired him, for sure.
Know what I mean?
He would have hired... He wanted William Hurt to do it.
Yeah.
Like, he wouldn't have been able to deal with the with the
one-liners and stuff. I don't think Cronenberg would have hired him.
Yeah, but I guess so. I mean, it worked out for the best because the producer was Dino De Laurentiis, who obviously, like, did everything in the 80s for horror. And they had issues with clashing about their ideas about what they wanted the movie to be and what direction they wanted to go in. So that's why David Cronenberg ended up leaving the Total Recall thing, and he was actually free when Robert Bierman was not able to come back to the project after 3 months. They waited for him, which was really nice.
Yeah, they gave him time, and then he just said that he was like, I'm sorry, I just can't do it right now. And so they freed him of his contract. And then they heard that David Cronenberg left Total Recall, so then they asked him a second time, and he agreed if he could rewrite the script. So Charles Pogue's draft, he definitely still took like a lot of elements from Pogue's draft.
Yeah, like key aspects.
Yeah, but he definitely changed like the character
Cronenberg'd
names.
them up.
He Cronenberg'd them
Basically,
up.
yeah, like he focused more. But it's like, if you know David Cronenberg and his work, it's like to say that he Cronenberg'd it up. It's like you know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, Pogue's draft involved a married couple. The husband was the scientist that had been experimenting with the teleportation machine, so he goes in there unknowingly with a fly and begins to transform and begins losing body parts, and his wife finds out that she's pregnant, and she can't determine if the baby was conceived before or after his teleportation. So he shows the machine to his friend by using a cat, and there were monkey atoms from a previous experiment that absorbed into the cat's DNA, making a monkey-cat creature. So that was still in Cronenberg's version, but then they ended up deleting it.
Have you watched that?
Oh yeah, I watched it.
Okay, yeah, it's really fucked up.
It's really fucked up. Yeah, they deleted it because they felt that the audience would stray away from having sympathy for Seth.
Yeah, well, I think they actually originally, when it tested in Toronto, that scene was still in it.
Yeah,
and everyone kind of lost. They felt like he was.
Like more of like a
he was abusing. Yeah, he was abusing the animal, and they were concerned that it was like, okay, well, the whole idea is to have sympathy for Seth Brundle, right?
Yeah.
So, and with him sort of going off and like beating that weird creature with a fucking bite to death,
I know.
It kind of like takes away from that.
It's on YouTube. It's like 5 minutes long, and like it's like this baboon like fused together.
It's
and
horrible.
It's like actually kind of
it's really disturbing actually.
Because like we're cat people, and like I was watching it and I was like, oh.
Yeah, it is very disturbing.
But in the Pogue draft, the husband character like eventually sets the lab on fire with him inside it, and at the end of the story, the wife has a dream that she gives birth to a horrible fly creature, but then wakes up in the hospital after giving birth to a healthy human baby. So it had like a happy ending or whatever. So Cronenberg rewrote the characters and dialogue while still carrying over like key concepts from Pogue's draft. And Pogue's draft had fly cells taking over a man's cells, changing him into a fly, whereas Brundle became a hybrid giant man-fly thing.
Yeah, it was more like genetics based, which actually to me speaks to how intelligent David Cronenberg actually is, because genetics and DNA was actually a very, very in its very early stages in the 80s, and so the fact that that's the concept that he went with is like, it's amazing to me, because like at that time they couldn't even do a DNA test. It was still a lot of like in the early stages of that science.
And I think it allowed him a lot more makeup artistry freedom. When you're not changing a human into a fly, you're changing it into like a human. Like,
and you could be more creative with that.
All, like,
well,
goofy
fucking Chris
classy.
Wallace, like he won the Academy Award. He did the Gremlins and House 2, and he also did the Aliens and the Alien guy.
That was a stain on his fucking career.
You guys suck. You guys, that's my kind of horror. So cute. So cute little
I can't do it. I can't do House 2.
Apparently in the screening when they had played it and Chris Wallace's name came up on the screen as the makeup
his
like
name
designer.
was like the first name.
Yeah, his name was the first name, and I can't remember who it was.
Stuart.
Yeah, Stuart turned to him and said, "You're gonna win the Academy Award," because everybody started cheering when his name came up because the effects were so amazing in this. Everybody like lost their minds.
Yeah, he like turned to him and he said, "You're getting the Oscar."
Yeah, he said, "You're getting the Oscar," and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
He prophesized it. It was
I know.
crazy.
Well, he also did the like the alien guy in Naked Lunch, and he did the special effects for The Fly as well with Stephen Dupuis, who also did makeup for Scanners and RoboCop.
Awesome.
And they both shared the Academy Award together for Best Makeup in 1987.
Awesome.
Chris designed the final Brundle fly creature first, and then did the earlier stages after. So we're at the part where they're in bed and she pulls that like chip thing off of his back. I can feel that in my
I know, that made me
That's
feel
nasty.
really
Yeah, like
weird.
computer chips are like so fine, like metal,
Yeah.
like little tiny metal pieces.
Especially
like,
in the 80s, they're
God,
like all
I know,
clunky
right?
and shit.
Yeah.
They have the same hairdo.
I know.
So cute.
Do you know what I love about them? I love that they were like a real couple.
Yeah, they were dating at this time.
Yeah,
at
and
this
he
point.
actually was the one that suggested Geena Davis. Apparently, David Cronenberg wanted Linda Hamilton.
Yeah, after he saw her on
in Terminator, and he wanted her for the role. But when Jeff Goldblum got cast, he suggested Geena Davis because he was dating her at the time and was like, she's an amazing actress. And he had reservations, but they tested a bunch of other people afterwards, and she read the best. They was like, there's no contest, like she has to have the role of this.
Yeah, he basically was like, he thought it was a bad move to have like a real life couple work together, but she nailed the reading and he claimed that she was perfect for it. But before that, he wanted Linda Hamilton, but she read the script and she turned it down because she was disturbed by the maggot baby birth scene.
Yeah.
And so Jennifer Jason
You're a fucking
Leigh,
actress. Shut your mouth.
I know.
Fuck off.
I know, right? Like it's not like you're showing your tits or nothing.
Right.
So Jennifer Jason Leigh and Laura Dern were considered, which is funny because Jeff Goldblum ended up dating Laura Dern as well.
Yeah, and they were in Jurassic Park together.
Yeah. So
He likes those tall women, doesn't he?
I know.
Interesting, because Geena Davis is 6 feet tall.
Yes.
he likes
She's
some dancers.
Yeah.
Actually.
Oh.
Yeah. He likes gymnasts.
He likes those bendy ladies.
I know. Because he's bendy
Look
too.
at him have to bend over so far to cut her fucking
I
skin.
know, because
so
he's a
tall.
monster.
I know.
Oh my God.
But back to Chris Wallace at the special effects. He actually studied graphic photos of diseases, and they purposely made Brundle fly look asymmetrical to like embody the human fly hybrid, which David Cronenberg envisioned as being deformed as opposed to just turning into like a single fly.
Yeah.
Which is like, he just wanted it to be completely different from like the original movie. And actually, it's kind of funny, the scene where Seth's ear falls off, like Geena Davis was like actually genuinely like terrified that she wasn't acting.
I know,
And
that's
scene, That was
amazing.
one take.
Yeah.
That scene was one take.
I mean, I'd be shocked too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ear dropping off thing, that cracks me up. That also in Dead Alive, the ear, there's like an ear that falls off into the
porridge.
custard.
And, and the custard.
This is delicious.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Nora.
Oh my God.
Oh, what a great movie.
Oh, man.
But yeah, the telepods, they were fashioned after David Cronenberg's motorcycle. And he named Seth Brundle after a racing driver named Martin Brundle. And he must be a racing fan because he directed this movie Fast Company, which is about drag racing. So that's one of the only David Cronenberg movies that I haven't seen. I don't think he wrote it, though. I think he just directed it.
It doesn't sound very Cronenberg.
No, it's not. It's about drag racing. Like, how can you really, like, have, like, appendages coming out of cars
right?
and shit.
Boring as hell.
Right?
Yeah, it doesn't sound that interesting.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he definitely has a certain style. But I guess, like, as his career has progressed, he has like, certain phases of his career.
Yeah.
And, like, his later movies are not really... They're more psychological.
Oh,
and
I'm
less,
going to get
like,
into
physical.
those. I'm going to get into it later.
Yeah.
But for now, let's talk about Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, let's do it.
It's time.
Your boyfriend. Okay,
he's my
so
boyfriend.
he won the Saturn Award for Best Actor, and also The Fly won for Best Horror Movie that year as well. And yeah, so he just turned 65 in October.
Happy birthday.
I can't believe how good he still looks. Like, it's crazy.
No,
Did you
he's
guys
fabulous.
watch that? Did you watch the Cooking with Jeff Goldblum video?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my
He's
God.
so fucking lovable. Like, when he first goes into the grocery store, it's like he's never been in one before.
I know, he's like,
he's
oh.
so amazed. He's like, look at this. Oh my goodness. And, like, when he
perfect, yeah.
grabs, like, I love, like, before he grabs the shopping cart and he's like, I'm not a germaphobe, but okay, we'll touch this. And, oh my God, I love him so
great.
much. And, like, the part where he talks to the cheese guy. It's so funny.
He's like, you're not a cheesemonger, you're a cheese master.
Yeah, and then, like, when he's having the conversation with
polite.
him, he's like, this is the most interesting conversation I've ever had. Like, really? Is it Jeff Goldblum? Like, Jeff
Right?
Goldblum, the most interesting conversation you've ever had is with a guy who fucking works the cheese counter?
He's a cheese master.
Oh my God.
very-
he's
I got
Very
caught in
cool.
like a loop of interviews, like
Nice.
late night
Yeah.
interviews and just like talk show interviews, just like a loop of him being so soft-spoken and so
love him.
polite.
He is
And he
fantastic.
crosses his legs in every interview like a
I
dainty
know.
fucking,
And, like, when he puts his hand up to his mouth, like, when he talks, like, even at the beginning of that Cooking with Jeff Goldblum video, he's, like, playing piano and he's, like, singing, it's a lovely day, hi, I'm Jeff Goldblum.
and he plays piano,
Yeah,
which
he's
is
a
like,
pianist.
He's an
actually
accomplished
yeah,
jazz
he's
pianist.
actually a jazz pianist, and his jazz band. He has a jazz band, and they're
hot.
called Jeff Goldblum and the Mildred Snitzer Orchestra.
Oh my
and
God.
fucking Pete Weller, Peter Weller is in the band. It's hilarious because they're in a band together in the Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai and the Eighth Dimension.
Well, you know what, though? That's interesting because I bet you Peter Weller also is, like, a really great musician, and they probably met on the set and
Buckaroo
stayed,
Banzai.
yeah,
and
and
it just
stayed
turns
friends.
out,
I know.
yeah.
And now they just fucking are a bunch of, like, old guys that jam together. That's fucking hilarious.
So I'm not sure if Peter Weller is still in the band now, but Jeff Goldblum he just played a show last year at this jazz bar in LA, but he does, like, stand up in between the songs.
Oh my God.
And I watched, like,
my
half of
God.
his set, and he's, like, talking about, like, he's asking the audience, like, which shoes of his they would fuck. And he was
Oh
like, would
my
you fuck my
God.
loafers or would you fuck my slippers? And then, like, everyone would be, like, shouting, like, loafers. And he's like, I'm just disturbed that you would have sex with my shoes. It's so good. Like, he's seriously, like, just one of the best humans on earth.
I think he's
Yeah.
one of the most interesting men in the world.
He really
Yeah,
is.
truly.
Most interesting conversation I've ever had.
Truly. With a guy who sells cheese.
I know.
At Ralph's.
Like, Jesus Christ. Okay, so his first role, he just played a thug in Death Wish.
Have you watched the scene that he's in?
No.
In
Have
Death
you?
Wish?
No.
Yes. He actually, and I didn't even watch it for research. I just watched it because it's Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
I've never seen Death Wish in its entirety, but he plays, like, a rapist guy. He's, like, in a convenience store or grocery store, and he's, like, following this girl. And I don't really know, like, the context of if that girl in the movie is, like, a main star or whatever, but so he follows her, he's harassing her in the grocery store, and he, like, I guess somehow gets to her house and, like, is, like, waiting for her, and
I'd be like, oh, Jeff Goldblum, you're waiting
like,
for me.
yeah,
Okay.
like,
Yeah,
and
okay.
she comes
Yeah, okay,
into
okay,
her
okay,
house, and
okay.
he's got, like, a couple other thug guys, so, like, he's, like sexually harassing her, just being a creep or whatever, and then so she comes home, and he's in her house with these dudes, and then like he rapes her.
Oh
It's
my God.
horrible.
Wait, but do
He
you
like
see
plays
it?
like a creep.
Does
No,
he
no,
get
no,
I don't
no.
think he's ever
Does he
shown
hit her?
it.
Does he spit on her?
Megan's like,
Does he choke her out? Oh my God. Yeah, so I've seen, but like, I don't know, he plays like a young thug guy, but I don't know, he doesn't seem that
thug-ish.
creepy to me.
No, he's not creepy.
I'd be like, oh, Jeff Goldblum, you're in my house and you want to take your clothes off? Okay, cool. That's all right.
I'm down.
That's cool. I'm nice.
Well, he also has a smart. I love Annie Hall. It's like my favorite Woody Allen movie, and he has a small part in that movie.
But it's very memorable.
and it's so good. Like he's driving Woody Allen and Annie Hall. Like he plays Annie's brother, and he's driving them to the airport or the bus station or something. And it's like during this like terrible like thunderstorm, like raining and stuff at night, and he's like telling Woody Allen, who's sitting in the passenger seat, like a story about like a murderer on a road that they're on that's just like the road that they're driving on, and he's like driving with his like spooky eyes and shit, and like he's fucking like scaring the shit out of Woody Allen. It's so good. I fucking love it so much.
Oh my God, he's amazing.
He was also the voice for Apple.
Yeah.
And Toyota commercials,
Really strange.
as well as a facial cream line.
For Procter & Gamble.
Yeah.
Boo!
He was married to Patricia Gall for 6 years. She's also an actress, and they were both in Silverado together. And this is kind of interesting, she also played a stewardess in Into the Night, which is the movie with Jeff Goldblum and Michelle Pfeiffer.
And Clu Gulager.
And Clu Gulager.
And Dan Aykroyd, I think, is in that
Yeah,
movie as well.
I haven't seen that movie. I really want to watch it.
And actually, interesting about that, David Cronenberg is in that movie as well.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Isn't that strange?
Very strange.
Yeah, I think, and maybe they met somehow, and that's how, like, I mean, how else would David Cronenberg really, like, have come in contact with Jeff Goldblum in the first place? But yeah, maybe they met, and that's really cool.
Yeah. But then he was married to Geena Davis for 3 years, and they were in 3 movies together. So aside from The Fly, they're also in Earth Girls Are Easy.
Terrible.
Yeah,
I can't.
I tried.
I'm sorry. I
It's
can't.
terrible.
I can't do it. Okay, I'm not. Okay, I remember when it was on TV when I was a kid. I don't really remember specifics, but then last year
You tried to watch
I
it.
tried to
I
watch it,
remember.
and I forgot that it's a musical. And then
Yes.
as soon as the singing started, I was like, nope. Nope,
I
I
know,
can't
I
do it.
can't.
Honestly, like I'm not huge into musicals. I am a massive fan of Rocky Horror Picture Show and Phantom of the Paradise. But yeah, like as soon as I hear singing, like I have to be in the mood, and like I'm rarely in the mood because
Yeah.
I feel like
I'm not big fan.
It's had to have been something too that I watched growing up, like Jesus Christ Superstar.
See, I know. See, I grew up watching
If
Rocky
there was
Horror
a
Picture
new
Show.
musical that came out today,
I'd
I
be
guarantee
like, no,
you, I'd be like, meow.
Like La La Land, like won a bunch of fucking awards.
is that a musical?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, no.
It won like
Yeah.
a bunch of awards.
And I love Ryan
like I'm
Gosling.
like,
He's-
I'll watch movies that win
Yeah.
Academy Awards and Oscars and stuff, but that one I was like, yeah, I don't know, it's got singing. Fuck it.
Well, someone told me to watch the movie Rent one time.
I never seen it.
They're like, you gotta watch Rent. You gotta watch Rent. Rent is one of those musicals where every fucking word is a song.
Ugh,
It's
no, I
not
can't-
like there's a
no,
song
I-
here or
I
there.
know, no, I can't do that.
about not being
Yes, like
No, I know.
why?
Yeah, like at least like Rocky Horror and Phantom of the Paradise, like they have acting in between the songs.
yeah.
That is the
Oh,
way that
my
it should
Lord.
be. Yeah, I don't know. Like going to a musical is a different story. Like Evil Dead musical and
For
Book
sure.
and Book of Mormon. Like
Those were
those
fabulous.
were fucking so
Yeah.
hilarious.
Book of Mormon especially is
Oh
like...
my god! Fuck you, God. What does that mean? It means fuck you, God.
It's so good.
But well, the other movie that they were in together was
Transylvania 65000.
I haven't seen that, and I watched the trailer, and I was like,
Actually, no, that's a lie, Yasmina. We tried to watch it, if
We
you
did?
recall.
Oh my god, then what happened?
oh, I think, oh my god, I forgot. We actually did start it
Because
and
it
then
was
we
so
shut it
bad.
off. We were just
Oh.
like talking, and we weren't paying attention,
Yeah.
and we were like, okay,
Like, we got maybe like 20 minutes in, and it just... There's just nothing like catching about
well,
it.
see, that's how I felt about Vibes. See, I watched half of Vibes. Vibes is a movie with Jeff Goldblum and Cyndi Lauper. And they play psychics. And Jeff Goldblum is psychic by touch. So he touches people and can tell things.
You should, you know, she just smiles. She's like, he can touch me any day. P.S. Okay, he's emerging naked out of the fucking telepod.
coming out of the
Like,
telepod.
look at how ripped he
Yeah,
is.
he
He
is
looks
pretty
great.
ripped.
He fucking worked out so hard for
He
this
can
fucking
rock that
movie.
mullet.
Oh my god, and him and his baboon.
Yeah.
P.S. I read a little bit about the baboon.
Oh, David Cronenberg
acting.
was afraid of
Yeah,
it.
so the
I would be
baboon's
too.
name was
Front camera,
Typhoon.
Harry.
Typhoon is, and I mean, by nature, baboons are terrifying, right? Like the fangs on this beast, crazy, right? So yeah, they were all really afraid of working with him. David Cronenberg was like especially afraid, but apparently the baboon respected Jeff Goldblum because he was so
tall.
Imposing and big. Yeah. Like apparently though, like they were saying that the baboon went crazy during one scene.
They fucking telepod door.
Yeah, they put him in the telepod, and there was the flashing light spooked him, and he actually ripped the door off of the fucking telepod. Yeah. So it just like shows the power of these animals, and they're just really, really scary.
But they bonded, which definitely helped with making the movie like a lot, like, because you hear a lot of horror stories about movies that involve baboons, like The Omen. Like apparently one of the crew guys actually got like fucking physically really injured from one of the monkeys at the zoo in the scene where Damien like.
Yeah, no, they're no joke. Like, literally, a chimp will rip your face off. Have you ever seen what that lady looked like?
That's exactly
Do you remember what that lady looked like with the chimp that ripped her face off?
Yeah, really scary stuff.
Like, she looked like afterwards, she looked like a smiley face. Like, it was fucked. Like, she had no features. It was terrifying.
Yeah, it would definitely, like, you would have to pay me a lot of money to act in a movie where I had to, like, interact with a fierce animal like that. Like, I don't know, man. That's... But yeah, so Jeff Goldblum was also engaged to Laura Dern as well. So then in 2014, he married a Canadian Olympic gymnast / contortionist, Emily Livingston. They have 2 sons together. He became a father at 62.
Wow.
Which is like John Stamos. John Stamos just recently became a father at like 55 or something like that.
55. Right. Sorry, I thought we were talking 60s. Yeah, so did Hugh Grant. Hugh Grant's like 60-something and he just became a dad. You know what? When you're rich and when you're a man, you can have babies till you're fucking Celine
And like
Dion.
if you're healthy, you're taking care of yourself, like you're gonna fucking live a really long time. But he was also, in the 90s, I believe, like he was also engaged to a 23-year-old Canadian professional dancer from Winnipeg. So when he was 50, she was 23. And so he's now 65. His now wife with the 2 kids is my age. Yeah, she was born the same year as me and Morgan.
Yeah.
You know what?
When I read that, I told Morgan, I'm like, there's still a chance for you.
Well, I've seen pictures of them on the beach.
She told me, she was like, oh my God, she's my age. And I was like, so there's still a chance.
Yeah, there's still a chance.
I've seen pictures of them on the beach together.
She's ripped.
There's so many pictures of him on the beach, and like, it's not fair. What has she got? What has she got? What makes her so special?
She's all bendy. He likes them bendy girls.
Well, yeah, she's a contortionist.
Oh, I hate this. I hate the hairs. I fucking hate
the fly hairs.
Are you, Megan, are you one of those people that can't handle something that's like under your skin, like poking out, or?
That's disgusting. And you know what else I can't handle? I'm not one of those people who like to peel sunburns or like pop back pimples.
Yeah, that's me.
Nope.
And your sister Mercedes.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah, that's me. I'm constantly like just picking at
like
scabs.
Blackheads.
There's actually a scene in Family Guy where Chris, I'm pretty sure, like runs and like fucking like just like peels somebody's scab on the street, and my friend used to like make fun of me and be like, "That's you." If you have a scab, I'll peel it for you, Megan.
Oh my God.
Friendship.
You know we're best friends when I peel your scabs for you.
You just pick my scabs
pushes me down the stairs. Fuck.
Is that scab?
Was that scabbing? Ew! I'm just picturing you put it in your mouth. I don't know why.
She's not gonna eat it. I mean, maybe I'll lick it. Just kidding. No.
That's gross.
I will totally peel y'all scabs.
Y'all scabs. Now that you've put it on the internet, you're gonna get a random
some
shipment.
Freak.
Oh
my God.
Like, you post your feet on the internet, you get fucking foot freaks. You're gonna get scab freaks fucking messaging you.
You're gonna get like
Bring it on.
envelopes.
I love laughing at that shit, man.
Envelopes full of skin.
Yeah. I would seriously actually like thoroughly enjoy that. Like I would obviously be creeped out, but at the same time I'd be like, well, this is interesting.
Put it in the skin box.
Skin grass, okay. That's funny. Well, let's talk about some of Jeff Goldblum's movies. So,
oh my god. Okay, so can we preface this with Jeff Goldblum has been in some of the highest grossing movies of all time,
and
some of the most terrible movies that I've ever fucking seen.
Well, that's like Vibes with Cyndi Lauper. Like, I watched half of it and I just couldn't do it. I just it was uninteresting. It wasn't engaging. I love Cyndi Lauper's outfits in it though. Her outfits are fucking amazing.
I can assume.
And her voice, like, she sounds like Janine from Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Like, she's so cute.
She's adorable.
I love Cyndi Lauper. Like, she is a queen.
I saw her once in person.
That's awesome.
I was shopping in New York City at Trash and Vaudeville, and I was looking at all the shoes, and I went downstairs to like the shoe area, and I turned, and Cyndi Lauper and her daughter.
That's crazy.
Were there just shopping for shoes.
You know
and
what's
I was
really
like,
funny?
And then I just was like, I'm not going to say anything.
That's weird that you say that, because I was also in Trash and Vaudeville in Toronto, fucking New York City, a couple years ago, and Courtney Love's daughter was in there. Yeah. Very weird.
Yes. It's one of those places.
Francis.
Yeah. Except it doesn't
Francis.
exist anymore. It doesn't.
No, it
exist
doesn't.
anymore.
Actually,
they
I think it
closed.
does exist. They just moved it to there. Because that location at 3rd and St. Mark's was there like since the 70s. It had been there for a very long time. And Jeff Goldblum is doing his fucking trapeze act right now. Oh my god. I love him.
Well, I tried to watch The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai across the 8th dimension.
You sent me that
I couldn't do it again. Yeah, like it's
the
just
video of them like in the band or
whatever.
whatever.
Peter Weller is playing guitar on stage, and I was like, Peter Weller, RoboCop's fucking rocking out on guitar. Woo! And then John Lithgow is in it, and he's all crazy, and he's got like weird pointy black teeth and shit, and like Jeff Goldblum is like a weird cowboy. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I lost interest very quickly. I was like, I'm shutting it down. He's also in Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which is cool. definitely a notable body horror film for sure.
He's also in Thank God It's Friday with Donna Summer.
I know. I want to watch that movie.
He has a disco movie.
Yeah, like Morgan texted me yesterday, and she was like, "Did you know that Jeff Goldblum was in a movie with Donna Summer?" And I fucking love Donna Summer, and I was like, "How did I not know this?"
Interesting. He's done it all.
I need to watch it.
He plays like a nightclub owner or whatever.
Obviously, one of the worst ones that he has done is The Legend of Sleepy
Hollow.
Oh
my god, I was actually about to say that.
I have The Legend of Sleepy Hollow on VHS, and the only reason why I bought it is because Jeff Goldblum is in it. He plays like a Bod Crane.
It's a TV movie.
It's like, no, he's not
boring.
in it, but that's not
It's so boring. But the best part about it, though, is that the front is like the movie like poster, and the back is like a biography photo of him. Like, it's not
Just
even like
him.
yes, like it's like a high school yearbook photo of Jeff Goldblum on the back of the VHS. Like, it's not even like a scene from the movie. It's just like, here's my passport photo. Yeah. It's so random. But yeah, like I'll still keep it, like, just because I'm nostalgic like that, but I'll never get through that
It's
whole
a good
movie.
keepsake. Yeah, like the other day Yasmina came over and we were gonna watch some movies, and she's like, I brought this for you. Like, and it was a Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
I like your impression of me.
I brought this for you.
That's how I talk.
I'll like watch it or whatever, and so like they're like, I don't know, like in the afternoon I really tried.
Yeah.
I gave it like 45 minutes and I was like, I just have to turn this shit off. It's
boring.
So
He would do a
terrible.
good Ichabod Crane though, because he was
he's
a big
tall
lanky,
and skinny.
goofy
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
I guess.
But it's a TV movie, so it's got that TV movie quality about it that's just unwatchable.
Yeah.
Regardless of if it's Jeff Goldblum
Any
or
movie
not.
that's been made about that storyline hasn't gone well though. It's either a cartoon or
I
a
don't
book.
mind the Tim Burton version.
Well,
With Christopher Walken?
Yeah, it's alright. I don't know.
like
I have a huge issue with Johnny Depp. I just think
I have a huge issue with Tim Burton.
You know, Johnny Depp and Tim Burton, and he plays this weird steampunky kind
Yeah,
of. And I'm
Yeah. I used to be a big Tim Burton fan. Everyone was. Like, I have The Nightmare Before Christmas tattooed on my leg. I wish I didn't, but whatever. And, but I just, like, hate his movies. Like, whatever past, like, Big Fish. Like, honestly, like, it just, like, he's just been
That's
sucking.
a really good call, Yasmina. Anything
Big Fish
past
is
Big
a
Fish.
great movie. Big Fish is a great movie. But yeah, anything after that, it's just, like, garbage.
Well, except for like the his animated ones, because I'm pretty sure Paranorman came out after Big Fish.
He didn't do Paranorman.
Oh my god, he didn't.
No, he didn't. No, that's a great movie though.
It is a great movie. Frankenweenie came out after
I didn't like that.
Oh, you didn't?
No,
Oh,
I like the
cute.
original.
Yeah.
But that's why I say, like, I'm glad Tim Burton didn't do The Fly, because, like, I don't know, like, I used to be a huge, I don't know, goth, I guess, like, in high school, and I was, like, really huge into Tim Burton and everything, and now, like, I'm just, like, so over it. Like, I mean, honestly, like, I just don't think that he's been doing anything good. And, like,
Not
by the
lately.
way, Jeff Goldblum and, like, fucking
This is the
Heidi
scene
Whitey's.
that's... Oh my god,
Oh
we
my
were just
God.
talking about this. He's, like, walking around.
Oh my
like,
god,
his ass.
I know.
I know, like,
His
no,
great
seriously, he
underwear.
worked out fucking hard.
I wonder how big his dick is.
No,
Huge,
it doesn't.
huge,
I don't
huge.
know.
Yeah,
It doesn't,
huge.
well, he might be a grower, because
He's
that doesn't
10
look...
feet tall. His
That
dick
doesn't
is
look like
huge.
he's packing.
That means his dick is
I
definitely
can't
10 feet
this
tall.
part.
Oh, when she cuts the hairs on his back.
And then eats ice cream
Yeah.
afterwards, all
I can't.
normally.
I can't.
Or no,
But I just wanted to say one thing about the Tim Burton Sleepy Hollow movie that I do like a lot is when he, like, axes the tree and blood and guts come out. Like, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that if Tim Burton did this movie, it would have given it an element that I don't think, like, it would make it almost
it
like...
would have made it like
it-
Edward
like a
Scissorhands
family movie.
Like, I don't know.
Well,
always
yeah, like
makes
Tim
things
Burton,
family
like
movies.
it's hard to explain. Like David Cronenberg, like he's a creepy, and Tim Burton is like
Spooky.
kind of like almost like a comical way.
Like an
Yeah.
adolescent way, kind of.
Yeah.
Although, we have to remember that this was 86, so let's just remember the first Batman was so fucking good. Was not
The
a
first
kid's,
two, man.
not a
That's
kid's
true.
movie.
Batman
That's true.
Returns too.
Was
Yeah.
a little bit more of a kid's
Yeah.
movie, a little bit more,
Yeah.
but the first one was super dark and super fucked up.
Yeah.
So you have to remember, like, early 80s, mid 80s, Tim Burton was
Yeah.
still actually...
Yeah, no, yeah, I totally
Pretty
agree.
dark,
Yeah, he
true,
was
true.
good in the 80s for sure. I always loved the part, me and my brother, at the very end of the first Batman movie, when the Joker, like, dies and, like, the fucking laugh box in his jacket is going on a loop, and he's like, Me and my brother would always do that when we were kids. We'd just be like, But yeah, so another, I would say relatively bad movie that Jeff Goldblum did, but I watched it a lot when I was a kid, so I have a nostalgic love for it, but it's not great. But Hideaway is one that I admired
I don't
the
know that
fuck
movie.
out of when
Let me just
I
look
was a
this
kid.
up.
It's a 90s movie, and it's got Alicia Silverstone.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, I
I know what movie
the
you're talking about.
biggest fucking crush on Jeremy Sisto from that movie, because him and Alicia Silverstone are also in Clueless together, and I loved him because the character that he plays in Hideaway is like a Satan worshiper who kills himself, like, and sacrifices himself for the devil, and he goes to hell, and Satan tells him, like, because you sacrificed yourself for me, I make you a deal, and I'll bring you back to Earth if you kill people for me. So Jeff Goldblum and Alicia Silverstone is his daughter, and him and his wife and his daughter get into a car accident, and Jeff Goldblum's character dies in the ER, but he gets resuscitated, but then when he comes back, Buddy, Satanist, like, comes back with him. So Jeff Goldblum sees what he sees.
Right.
And he is a murderer, so he's killing teenage girls, and then he starts to see what Jeff Goldblum sees, so he sees Alicia Silverstone and he wants her. And there's like a whole part at the end where Jeremy Sisto's character, like, makes this, like, giant kind of cave house thing where he brings the girls. And I used to think it was, like, so cool, and I watched it, like, recently, like, a couple years ago,
And it doesn't hold
oh my
up?
god, like, bad CGI, like,
Oh,
really bad
really?
CGI.
Well, yeah,
But, like,
yeah.
I loved it when I was a kid, so
But you know what? When you were a kid, that CGI was like state of the art, so it looked great.
Yeah.
But it's like now,
I just thought it was
fuck.
so cool that he was like a Satan lover and listen to Slayer.
fuck.
Like at the
Shit.
beginning of the movie, like the way that he kills himself is he knifes himself, like he sticks a knife upright,
Oh, God,
and then
no.
bends over.
No.
And yeah, like, and he's like listening to heavy metal. Oh, I love this part. Okay, so we're at the part where he's at the bar and arm wrestles that guy and breaks his fucking forearm.
And it's
this
so
part
awesome.
resonated with me since I was a kid.
Yeah.
This part, like, for forever will never fucking get it out of my brain. Like, when I watched it when I was a little kid, I was, like, mortified. Also, we'll never forget the fact that he's just wearing a leather jacket with no shirt
on.
With no shirt under. That always
love it.
bothered me. Like, the feel of the
you're so sweaty and,
leather
like,
under.
wet.
Yeah. Yeah, I always thought that was
He
kind of
doesn't even
uncomfortable
care. It's like
watching
he
that.
put the leather jacket on and he never took it off.
I know.
And
That
this
part
is
is
where
awesome.
his, like, his face starts to get gross.
Yeah,
His
no, he starts
beautiful,
looking.
flawless face.
I know. Like, yeah, like this movie is hard to watch because like he looks so good in it, especially in the beginning. But then now he looks like he's like maybe like a meth addict that's been on the streets for a couple of years.
Yeah.
He starts getting that like craggy, nasty, fucking like
weird acne, like
shit
castle
face. Yeah, he's got straight up castle face.
Yeah.
Oh my
But
God.
obviously, the most important movie that Jeff Goldblum has done is Jurassic Park.
Ah, yes.
Are
Jurassic
you
Park is
skipping right
so
to-
good.
I want to. Okay.
All right, Megan, go.
Jurassic Park is so good. So I just want to talk about one that's like in between the shitty ones. And
Okay.
So good. Life Aquatic
Oh yeah.
is so good, man.
I actually
Life
love it. I love
Aquatic
all of Wes Anderson's movies, to be honest.
So good.
Yeah.
He had such a cute little role.
Yeah.
And like, oh fuck. I love like Angelica Houston.
She's a queen, too.
Yeah. When Jeff Goldblum plays in movies where he gets to like play with really good characters like Sam Neill in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Like when he gets to like reflect his skills off other really good actors like in the Wes Anderson movies, fuck.
I
shines.
love
He
all of that
shines.
guy's movies. Seriously, they're all good.
Oh my god.
I love
they're
all of
so
them.
cute.
Yeah, he's adorable.
He's like a Cronenberg. Like you got to watch Wes Anderson. You just have to.
Yeah.
Morgan, do you like Wes Anderson?
Sorry, I was just like looking
know.
at Jeff
She's just
Goldblum.
looking at his She's like mesmerized.
He like came out with that
What are you gonna do when you meet him? I feel you because that's how I think if I ever met Arnold.
His bum crack.
I see it.
I
don't
wouldn't
even know what I'll
I wouldn't
do.
know what I would do if I
think
met
I'll
Arnold.
probably make an ass of myself, but hopefully it'll be
You know
be
what?
a memorable.
Yeah.
You just end up doing nothing.
You just end up acting normal.
Oh no!
Do you
I'm not
remember
gonna
when
do
Tom
nothing.
Savini was in my face and I was like,
Oh yeah.
like, hi.
Hamna.
Nice to
Hamna.
Hubba, hubba.
Like you, hubba.
I know he like came. Tom Savini came to our booth at a Comic-Con, and Megan had a skull on her table, and she wasn't at the table. And he came up to us and
He's
was
like,
like,
"Who's this
"Oh,
around
whose
you?"
skull is this?" And we're like, "Oh, that's our other girlfriend." In the podcast, and he was like, "Oh, I'd like to buy it off her." And then as soon as he walked away, I was like, "Oh my god, Megan's gonna fucking lose her shit."
And like you think you have all these things to say, but at the end of the day, it turns out these people you worship are actually strangers.
What do I say?
Yeah.
Well, that someone hasn't said to them 1,000 times. I think
Yeah.
you're really great. Cool kid, thanks.
Yeah,
You
because
know?
everyone wants to be the person that they remember, that to stand
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Well,
I get that.
I feel like I am not going to be that surprised when we meet Jeff Goldblum because I like that he does a lot of these like quirky videos like Cooking with Jeff Goldblum,
Right.
and then he's done all these other like interviews, and like he was on that like Tim and Eric show,
Right.
and like he seems like that's the way that he is in real life, right?
Yeah, he
Like,
seems
so
very
he's
down
just,
to
like, very
earth.
down to earth and normal, and I've always admired Crispin Glover, and I know that he's a weirdo, and when he came to Toronto and I met him, I didn't know what to expect, but he was like so fucking nice when I met him, and I was just like, okay, this is not what I expected, but at least it didn't go bad or anything, but I don't think it's gonna go bad with Jeff.
Well,
There's no way it
it's
would
just
go bad
what
with
do you
Jeff
say,
Goldblum,
like,
yeah.
We all talked about how big we think your dick is. Do you mind like giving us some insight?
I know. I'm sure that he's probably had a lot of weird fan encounters. Like, huge celebrities like him probably have some crazy
Yeah.
stories. So, I'm sure, like, we're going to do the photo op, so it'll be quick. It'll be like a minute. It'll be a legendary.
I'll be like, so you have 1 minute, tell me your life story, tell me everything.
Yeah, and do you want to get married?
Okay, I'm all right. I'm
Yeah.
done. I'm
I
good.
feel like you say all these things, but really you're just gonna like grab a lock of his hair and just
That's funny.
Maybe.
it's like breathe
That's
like
hilarious. That's
Oh
funny.
my God.
I like drinking this Cronenberg beer because I like to just call them David Cronenbergs. So I'm drinking a David Cronenberg.
It's not the first time.
I feel
I've
like
heard
he
that.
would approve of that too. Is that weird?
yes.
I'm drinking you. Okay, so Dr. Ian Malcolm.
Sex god. Oh my god, yeah, that's
Oh
so
god, that video was so
I love that fucking video
Oh
of
my
Jeff Goldblum,
God.
and somebody made the loop of just the laugh with the techno song. It's
fucking fantastic. You know what's interesting though? Like, I read Jurassic Park.
I read it a long time ago. It's very graphic.
Yeah, and I never pictured Ian Malcolm in that way. The way that they had him portrayed with Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
I think it changed the whole character. Oh my god, his fingernail just came off.
No.
Oh, his other fingernail.
Oh, and
I
it's
don't
like
want to.
pus dripping off his fucking fingernails. Ew.
Well, interesting about the book. There's a connection between the Jurassic Park book and The Fly. And there's also a connection between The Fly and Jurassic Park the movie as well. So Veronica in The Fly tells Seth something went wrong. And Laura Dern also says the exact same thing to Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park.
Oh.
And in The Fly, Seth always wears the same thing and says he doesn't like to wake up every morning wondering what to wear. In the Jurassic Park book, Ian Malcolm only wears black and gray because he also doesn't like to spend time wondering what to wear in the morning.
Interesting.
And another kind of interesting connection between David Cronenberg and The Fly is David Cronenberg's father is a journalist and his mother was a pianist. And in The Fly, the roles are reversed, and Seth plays piano to impress Veronica, who is a journalist.
Oh. It's fucking Chashburger.
And Brundlefly's vomit is made with egg, honey, and milk.
Oh, yum.
Oh, that's
Morgan, you can have none.
Yeah, no thanks.
No.
I always love when they do like the technology breakdown. Like this, like
yeah.
this.
Oh my god, I love it. The bad
love
CGI.
it.
He's got his
I love
like
it.
he's got his like computer doing like the query for like what is actually happening to me. Zoom out again.
Enhance.
Enhance. Oh wait, it looks like a fly. Ah!
So have you guys actually watched Powder?
Yes. Can
Yeah.
I tell you a story?
That
I
movie
I saw Powder in the theater.
I think I saw it in theater too.
I remember seeing
Why do
Powder
you
in
think
the
it
theater.
sucks?
I don't know, man. That's just like
Because Victor Salva's a rapist.
yeah, and also
yeah.
the fact that Disney hired a child rapist
Oh my
to
God.
make their movie.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
you know what? Semantics. Why did the movie suck?
I
don't think it was a terrible. I remember
I
being
just thought
like
it was kind of lame. I don't
so
know.
intrigued by the movie when
I thought it was like accept everyone, even when they're different. Like love everyone.
I don't know. I just always thought that it was kind of lame. And then, like, I read an article about how Victor Salva directed it and the controversy surrounding him being, like, a child rapist and all that stuff and how Disney hired him and everything. And there's a bunch of, like, weird scenes in Powder
Yeah.
that,
Oh, yeah.
like,
Oh,
there's,
yeah.
like, one part where Jeff Goldblum holds his hand on Powder's face for far too long. It's
Yeah.
like really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I've
Like,
heard
it's
there's
like,
some
he just,
uncomfortable stuff that
places it
goes
there,
on.
and it's like he
want
doesn't
that.
move it, and it's really fucking weird. And it's just like it's a weird movie, and I'm just not interested in it.
Yeah, well, I haven't watched it with adult eyes.
Yeah.
To
Yeah,
see
you're
it,
right.
like,
I haven't either.
I
saw it when
saw
I was a
it.
kid.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater when it came out when I was like 13 years
I guess
old.
I guess I was just like maybe a shitty kid because I just didn't give a shit if he was picked on. I guess and like he was all like bullied and stuff, and I was like, whatever,
yeah,
fuck him.
but the
You're a
idea is-
shitty person.
Anyways, so it's one of those movies where it's like it leaves you with the questions like, well, like who was he? Was he an angel? Why was he on Earth? Blah blah blah. Like why did he like touch so many lives and like create love with so many people and then just disappear? It's got one of those weird
Did
like
he bring
endings.
anything back to life?
Yeah, I think so.
You know how in those
Yeah.
movies
Don't
they
even
like
remember.
touch like a bird dies and everyone's upset and then
Yeah.
he like goes.
like blows on
Yeah,
it.
no,
like,
I'm pretty sure that's
"Freeze
exactly
me!"
what happens in it. No, that's exactly what
Right?
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I like to make jokes about like how Morgan loves Jeff Goldblum so much that I'm like, even when he's all gross and diseased,
Even when he's Cronenberged up.
when he's all Cronenberged up, you still like him.
He wants to like suck the pus out of his face.
Oh, fuck, I know.
Oh man, like it gets so bad. His
I
hair,
know.
it's
hair.
so thin and nasty.
Yeah, he definitely, he nailed this
No,
character
no,
for
I
sure.
hate it.
Oh, when he's like walking on the crutches.
Yeah, now is when it starts to get like.
Yeah,
fucking
this is when
Well, you know what
disturbing.
movie is of his that I actually haven't seen in a really long time, but I do admire is Independence Day.
So good. First
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
a great one.
yeah, the new one was.
I did watch the new one. I actually
boring.
watched it last night, and I
it's kinda
enjoyed
boring.
that they pretty much put everybody that was in the first one
Back in it, yeah.
Yeah, like Bill Pullman was in it, Brent Spiner was in it.
Data.
Yeah, fucking Data.
Mr. Data.
Will Smith wasn't in it.
They did a good job at explaining like why or
Yeah,
like, whatever. Though.
yeah, like
Did he die? I don't remember.
Yeah.
yeah, he did. He
Yeah.
did.
He did.
did.
I don't know. There was like some elements in it that I was just like, wow, this is like really super cheesy.
He just barfed on the donut. I love that.
His egg and honey
Yeah,
and milk.
but I still haven't seen the new Thor, and but I do love.
Who the fuck is he in the new Thor?
He's a Grand Master in the new Thor, and his makeup in it is
He's
hilarious.
looking
Fabulous.
Yeah,
He looks fabulous.
yeah. Actually, he talks about it at that fucking Cooking with Jeff Goldblum video because he's talking to the Cheese Master, and he's like, you know what my character in Thor's name is? It's Grandmaster. But yeah, something else that I thought that was kind of interesting about Jeff Goldblum was that he also does the voice of Troy McClure's agent in The Simpsons.
oh my
And
god.
he does the voice for Verminous Scum in Captain Planet.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
I know.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. He's like the
the
fucking the villain in Captain Planet.
That's fucking hilarious. I had no idea. That I actually didn't see in my notes, so that makes me very happy.
Okay, I can't internet. So
Megan was trying to look up
Grandmaster?
Grandmaster.
I can't,
Here,
because-
let me do it for you.
God damn it. I just saw words.
I just saw words.
I just
You're
saw
funny.
words.
There you go, Megan.
Let's see his oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Well, it's a
like-
Thor
it's
movie,
so,
so
like,
it's like
cyberpunk.
silly. Yeah, of course.
Oh no.
I haven't seen it yet though, but I actually heard that it was really good, and my brother told me that his character is awesome.
I heard it's very good, and I heard the soundtrack is fucking amazing as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, okay. It's obviously going to be a good movie because it's a superhero movie, but his makeup is very like elite
It's
Hunger
silly.
Games. Remember the
Yeah.
Hunger
Yeah.
Games? Like those
I only
weird-
saw the first one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about Geena Davis.
Can we?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay,
So the inventor of shoulder pads was. No.
I invented Post-its.
Yes! Romeo and Michelle.
Romeo and Michelle's high
Oh,
school
no, I've
reunion.
never seen that shit.
You know what? It's actually really funny, and you should watch it because there's like one part where Mira Sorvino. There's one part where they go to a dance club and a guy hits on her, and she's very uninterested, and she fucking tells him that she's like,
My
"Oh,
shoes
sorry.
don't fit on."
I stubbed my toe earlier, and now my shoe is filling with blood, so I gotta go."
Your Valley Girl accent
Oh my
is
God.
so perfect. And
Really?
she
I
laughs
think I did it very
away.
well. Thank you. She's like, my shoe is filling with blood, so I gotta go.
I gotta go.
I was like, that is the best line ever. Like, if anybody like ever hits on you at a bar, just tell them that like you stubbed your toe
Yeah.
and your shoe is
It's
filling with blood.
No big
and
deal.
also, just want to mention that I watched Victor Crowley recently, and it's so entertaining. Still think the first Hatchet movie was the best one, but there is another great line to use when somebody is hitting on you at a bar. Just tell them you have a dick. There's like one scene where a guy hits on the girl, and she was like, "I have a dick." I was like, "Yes, I'm so using that."
Can I actually tell you something? Mercedes did that once.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
can see
surprised.
that. I can
There
see that.
she was in the line at a grocery store, and this guy kept hitting on her, and she was like, actually, I'm a man.
Yeah, that sounds like
So-
some.
You gotta be careful
Interesting.
who you say that
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
Because some men love the idea of a big juicy cock and a set of tits on the same human.
Yeah.
well,
Then you
yeah,
just
you
gotta
never know.
walk away.
Well,
Bust out of there.
Yeah.
me and my huge
Like,
schlong are
Kool-Aid,
out of
bust the
here.
fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Oh
Okay, so Geena Davis. I want to
Geena.
say that I seriously loved her when I was a kid. Pretty
League
much.
of Her Own.
Yes. Okay. Pretty
That's
much
it.
any strong, independent. woman character in a movie or TV show when I was a kid is what I looked up to. Like, especially Bridget Fonda, Point of No Return.
Mm-hmm.
And Geena Davis in Long Kiss Goodnight. Like,
that's a good
a
one.
female that's like a badass in a movie, when I was a kid, I was like obsessed with. So I have admired Geena Davis for a very long time. She is a fucking boss lady. She is a queen. When I was reading about her, I now love her.
All
even
of her
more.
activism is like,
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it's fabulous. I mean, like, not only has she
She-
been in some of the best movies of the 80s and 90s, but
Yeah.
she also is
Yeah.
like just kicking ass.
Dude,
like,
she really is. Like, she's a supporter
for female rights and
of
stuff,
the
yeah.
Women's Sports Foundation, and she sponsored the largest research group on gender equality in children's TV shows and movies. And because of this, the ratio of females to males has changed from 3 males to every 1 female to being even in kids' TV shows and movies because of Geena Davis. She won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress in The Accidental Tourist. I've never heard of it.
I've never seen it, no.
She won 2 other awards for Best Actress in Thelma and Louise. Fuck yes.
Thelma and Louise is
Thelma
such a
and
good
Louise
movie.
is
Yes, I love any movie that has like a female character that's like oppressed by a male that goes through a change and becomes like badass. Like, it's just like was the foundation of who I became, like, when I was a child. Like, I would watch all these movies, like, fucking Terminator with Linda Hamilton, going into, like, Terminator 2 when she was a badass in that one, and, like, Long Kiss Goodnight, any, like, Point of No Return, like, it just, like, female roles that have, like, such a strong prowess. Oh, by the way, we're at the scene where she's, like, dreaming about having the baby, and David Cronenberg is the gynecologist.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I just, I love it. Like, girl power. She was also nominated for the Saturn Award for Best Actress in The Fly, and she has, like, many nominations, all Thelma and Louise.
Yeah.
I love that movie. So we discussed earlier that she almost didn't get the role for Veronica in The Fly. Almost went to Linda Hamilton and Jennifer Jason Leigh, Laura Dern. But yeah, some interesting things about her. She's originally a musician. So she actually grew up playing the flute and the organ. And I love the maggot baby. It's so Cronenberg.
Oh my god.
Cronenberg it up. It's like the fucking Rick and Morty, the Rick and
Yes.
Morty episode. And like, we really Cronenberg this up.
Oh my god.
Have you seen it, Megan?
Oh yeah. That's gonna be a no from me.
I've only seen the first season, but there is an
I've seen
episode.
every single episode.
Yeah.
Actually, multiple times. Ben is obsessed with that show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is
it's
pretty
funny,
funny.
right?
Yeah.
It is actually really funny, but
There's like a world where everything is like
everything is
Cronenberg, so it's all
Cronenberg,
fucking all like weird monster, like
yeah,
arms
mutants
coming out of
and
heads and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she is fluent in Swedish, and
Ooh,
also
sexy.
she's a fucking archer.
Sex.
Okay, so
She actually was
she tried
on-
out for the fucking Olympics.
Yeah, and actually, she almost made it. So she was one of 300 women who vied in the semifinals in the U.S. Olympic archery team, but she didn't make the team. But she placed 24th in 300.
That's
Yeah.
so good.
I know. That's
so
pretty fucking
good.
cool.
But the best part is that she only started
Doing it, like, a couple years
2 years
before. Yeah.
It only took her 2
She's
years
probably
to
so good
almost.
by now.
Oh
I
my
know.
god!
I did archery a few years ago. It's fun. It is really fun. It's
would be.
better than the axe throwing, I
Yeah,
find.
yeah.
I loved it. It was so much fucking fun.
Archery, it's like so like primal. It's so
Dude,
like,
it is. Yeah,
you know?
dude.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
no,
love it.
she's such a badass. But this is actually pretty cool. So, okay, so she was a musician, but before she became an actress, she was a live mannequin for an Ann Taylor store in New York.
Yeah,
so
she was.
she stood like still for hours.
That actually sounds like
She's-
one of the worst jobs I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that
I'd do it for if it was like a good money.
there probably was a point in time in that era where it was something that was necessary, and Ann Taylor is like, that's a big deal, so it makes sense. But now it's kind of just like a weird thing, like to stand in a window
Yeah.
for hours.
I
as a
remember
live
when that was a
mannequin.
thing, though, in the 80s and early
Yeah.
90s, like live mannequins. Like, I remember, like, going to the mall, and my dad, like, fucked with one of them and, like, put, like, he had, like, popcorn, and he tried to put popcorn in the guy's nose. And then, like, the guy laughed. Yeah, it was, like, I totally remember when, like, live mannequins were a thing.
Weird.
Like, they would just get paid to just stand there and not move.
I
like,
feel
it's
like
you
we're
could just save the money and just use a fucking
Yeah.
mannequin.
I feel like we're so like crass and rude. I'd end up like putting my finger through the fly of my pants. Like,
Yeah, I know.
like
I
I do something. I mean, how
That's
can you just
funny.
stand there and not like,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah, fuck with them. I know.
or just like stand so quiet.
Maybe
everyone's
that's
looking
why it doesn't happen anymore.
at you.
That's funny. But yeah, well, because she was the live mannequin, she was
So
spotted
gorgeous.
and signed a deal with a modeling agency. And then while she was modeling, she was spotted by director Sidney Pollack for a small role as a soap opera actress in Tootsie.
That's cool.
So she even had her own show at one point. Do you guys remember the Geena Davis show?
No.
I
It was
don't- I do
only,
not
I
recall.
definitely remember that show because I was like obsessed with her when I was a kid. It was only one season. And so recently, she's in the Exorcist TV show.
Wait, go back
Yeah.
though. Geena Davis show. What was it, like the Oprah show? Like,
No. Like it was like a sitcom.
Oh,
Yeah.
So like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
it
it was
comedy, though?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a
Okay.
sitcom. But yeah, it was only one season, but I definitely remember it. But the most recent thing that she's done is she plays Reagan grown up in the Exorcist TV show. I only watched the first episode,
Cool.
to be honest. I was like not really
Yeah,
captivated.
I
by it.
remember when it came out, and I actually remember we talked about it, Yasmina, and
Yeah.
I was kind of been like, yeah, like I'm a little skeptical.
Yeah.
Because like anything that they adapt like that for TV, you know that it's going to be toned down to the point where it's too accessible, and there's like it's not even interesting anymore.
Yeah, well, that's like The Mist. The Mist show.
I tried.
Oh,
Dude,
I tried
fuck,
to. I
what the
tried
fuck?
so hard.
Oh my god,
I tried.
I'm sorry, but like, what the fuck was that?
Although I've heard really good things about Bates Motel. Or
It is actually
Right.
Bates Motel is good.
I even
Except-
tried that, and I
except-
was like, no.
But you know what?
It's garbage.
My only criticism about Bates Motel is the side story about the brother and the weed empire. That
There's a
has
weed
yeah,
empire?
it's got nothing to do with anything, and it's just like fuck off.
No.
Like no one cares. Like people just want to see Norman Bates like go crazy.
Yeah, I heard the hype, and I tried, and I watched like maybe like
It's
4 or
not
5
bad. I wouldn't
episodes,
say
and I was
it's
like,
bad.
meh.
Yeah.
I think to make any good
wasn't
story
great.
into a show, they have to dilute the story so much that it just like pulls it so it stretches the story so fucking thin. that
Unless-
it's just,
unless
like,
they-
Yeah, no,
glorious.
yeah,
But
I agree
unless
with
they
that.
have like different like if they incorporate very interesting subplots.
Yeah.
Because a lot of shows have been doing that recently, and it is very like interesting and keeps you engaged. But yeah, the Exorcist TV show, I only watched the first episode, and it just like didn't really. I don't know. It just didn't really do it for me. But I don't know how many seasons are even out now.
Yeah.
Like, or even if it's still going on. Or
Yeah, but
anything
Geena
like
Davis
that, but-
only did the first season. She,
Oh, really?
She didn't
Oh, I
come back
know
after the
that.
second season.
Maybe because she wasn't into it.
Yeah.
But, well, aside from being married to Jeff Goldblum, she was also married to director Rennie Harlan, who directed Long Kiss Goodnight.
Yep.
And that movie Cutthroat Island.
Oh
where
my
they're,
God,
like,
that
pirates.
movie
Yeah,
apparently
I
is
know.
like one of the
I
worst.
saw it in theaters.
Oh,
I saw it in theaters. I don't really remember it. It's a kids movie. It's basically
Yeah.
a kids movie. I
Geena
bet
Davis
it's like
is a
I mean like
pirate?
yeah.
It's a pirate movie,
Well,
yeah.
She's a pirate?
I don't know if her character is a pirate or like a hero or what.
It's a
I was
pirate
like-
movie.
Yeah, it is a pirate
Yeah.
movie though. I just like remember seeing it in theater because I liked her a lot, so I was like, oh, I want to go see it just because she's in it. I don't really remember the plot or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's probably not as good as Pirates. Remember that the porn.
Oh, that was a high budget movie.
Oh, that was one of the highest budget
I
fucking
know.
about it
Yeah, they
before.
have.
We have
I know.
talked about
There's
that
like
before.
fucking ghosts.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was a good one.
One of the
yeah.
highest budget fucking
know.
porn
Oh,
movies
fuck.
ever, I believe.
That
yeah.
was a-
Yeah,
really
yeah, like millions.
yeah.
Captivating porno.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
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 It's hilarious, actually. I think there's a sequel too.
Oh.
Um,
You know what? I gotta talk
Pirates
about big
2?
budget pornos. They have got to be the least sexual things. Like they're not like high budget pornos. Like I don't know.
But you know what though?
What
Sometimes
the fuck am I gonna do with that?
I really
Fucking
love
a storyline.
Dude,
What?
the storyline is fucking funny sometimes to watch though. Like it's so bad.
People
It's
get
entertaining.
turned on by high budget pornos.
I don't think so. No, but
Unless it's a shaky cam where I can like barely make out what's going on, I'm not gonna be into
Oh,
it.
fuck,
You
I know.
I don't want to watch.
Yeah.
that.
like aim the camera at the whole motherfucker.
I feel like though
I know
that's
it's like 2-hour intro of just blowjobs.
Oh my
You know,
God, but-
maybe
but
I don't need
seriously,
to see 2 hours of blowjobs. Maybe I don't.
Let's be honest though, like the stories in porns, like at the beginning, like before they start fucking, like I love how bad the acting is.
Yeah.
I love it so much. Like holy shit. I get a kick out of watching the stories.
Oh God.
We should have like another podcast just called Porn Stories.
We
Oh, God.
should. Although, how creepy is that? 3 girls just sitting around watching porn
Oh,
together.
then we'll get some weird shit mailed to us. We're talking about fucking skin being mailed to me. We'll get some fucking like butt plugs or like
oh no.
like fleshlights mailed to us.
Even worse.
You guys, we should put our own
Severed
lines
cocks.
of fleshlights.
Oh,
We should mold our
Mold our
vaginas.
V's.
Our V's.
Oh my God.
You know what? That's not a good idea.
I'm gonna write a blog that's like drunk Megan ideas, and then read them to you when you're
what?
sober.
That's not smart. I don't like that.
No, that's not a good idea. Let's not make molds of our vaginas.
Or but let's just not sell them.
Yeah. Okay, so
We digress.
back to Geena Davis.
Right.
So, fucking obviously Beetlejuice. Gotta mention Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Love
That's
that.
one of those really good Tim
That's
Burtons.
one of the good, very, very good Tim Burton movies. Like, Beetlejuice and Pee-wee's Big Adventure are my favorite Tim Burton movies, for sure. Like, I could watch Beetlejuice over and over
Same.
again and never, ever get sick of it. When I was a kid, I always just... the part where they like disintegrate at
Oh
the
my God,
end
yeah.
and like get all skinny and shit.
good.
Like
Yes, and his jaw falls off.
It freaked me out
Love
when I
it.
was a kid. But Geena Davis still looked hot though when she was like all like skeleton-y and shit.
Yeah.
But also we mentioned Thelma and Louise. Fantastic movie. A League of Their Own, which is another very strong female.
Oh, that
role
movie's a
movie.
fantastic.
I haven't seen it in a really long time.
I watched it sort of recently.
I want to watch it again though.
Rosie O'Donnell,
and
Madonna
Tom
is
Hanks.
in it.
Tom
Yeah.
Hanks,
Yeah.
like-
It's fucking great.
And
It's a great movie.
I love the actress. Come on, man, the actress with the voice who plays her younger sister.
Lori
yeah.
Petty.
Yeah.
Petty,
Yeah, Lori Petty. Yeah, that I actually kind of want to revisit. I haven't seen it in probably 20 years.
It's a good movie.
I
it's
just
very
remember
good.
like that it's girls aren't allowed to play baseball, so
There's no
Geena
crying
Davis
in
and everybody,
baseball.
yeah, make a all women's softball team, and
I think it's during the war, right?
It's because there's no men.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the men are gone to war,
Yep.
so they want something to keep them entertained. And they got these. Oh, I like the big weird ugly one. The big like doo doo doo.
I don't even remember.
that's a
I
good
gotta
part,
rewatch
yeah.
it. It's been a really long time, and Bill Pullman is in it too.
Oh, Bill Pullman!
Aw. And John Lovitz. Yeah, I
yeah.
gotta,
Oh,
I
it's
gotta
a great
rewatch
movie,
it.
yeah.
Dude, the budget was $40 million, and the box office made $132 million. That's
Fuck.
crazy.
Pretty big.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to rewatch that for sure. But like I said before, and just like when I was a kid, like any movie that involved like a strong female role, I definitely admired for sure. Oh, I love this part. Oh my god, I love the vomit, man. Milk and egg and honey. Oh, I like when
my
his
God,
like his
it's
fist
like sizzling
disintegrates.
off.
That's
Oh
great.
my god. Apparently, the makeup at this part took 5 hours.
Yeah, I saw that. That
Yeah.
it was like 5 pounds of extra
Like,
makeup
of like
on him.
latex, though. Just
Yeah.
like, so 5 pounds of latex is like, not that it would be super heavy, but like, that's a lot of fun. I mean, it's an entire suit.
I feel like it would be like claustrophobia inducing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you got all this shit on you.
This is the part of the episode where I'm going to talk a lot about David Cronenberg.
Only Yasmina, we will say silent.
guys' opinions.
No, of course,
too.
of course.
Okay, so I originally, like, we have like a group chat, and we always text like, what movie should we do next? And Morgan suggested The Fly, and I was like, if we do The Fly, I'm warning you guys ahead of time that I'm going to talk about David Cronenberg for a long time. He's definitely just, I mean, I talked about it earlier, one of the best fucking directors in, like, film history. I'm a big admirer of him and David Lynch. But yeah, David Cronenberg, like, is just so influential. Like, he was one of the originators of body horror in film. Body horror didn't start with film, obviously. It goes back like 100 years with literature. Like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, is a huge body horror story for sure, definitely. And David Cronenberg is like, he's very big on the idea of flesh, body mutation, disease, infection, anything that is unnatural. I have always had a fondness and just like admiration and respect for the body horror genre in general. Like, it's like that genre, it tests people's truest fears. I was reading about just the genre in general, and it's like, it tests people's like primal fears of like extreme abnormality. It causes feelings of terror and being uncomfortable. There's nothing worse than being uncomfortable. It's very visceral. It pushes the limits. And like I mentioned earlier, like with early fiction, a lot of like H.P. Lovecraft, Edgar Allan Poe, and most recently Clive Barker. And I just want to mention one of my favorite fucking horror directors, Richard Lehman. If you guys want to read a really fucked up, awesome body horror book, read The Cellar by Richard Lehman. If they tried to make The Cellar, actually, I'm pretty sure I heard a rumor like a few years ago that Clive Barker wanted to make a movie of The Cellar. You would have to make it like X-rated, because it's like monster orgies. Sweet. It's like the whole, like, it's like the Beast House Chronicles. I think there's like 3 or 4, but The Cellar is the first one. It's amazing. It's such a fucking good book. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of the genre. It makes you, anything that makes you cringe, feel uncomfortable, but as well question the tones and subject matter. Those two combined together is like what makes like David Cronenberg movies. Yeah,
well, it's like the idea of, especially like with disease, and like David Cronenberg always mixes like the psychological with the physical. Yeah. And I think that's what makes him such an impactful storyteller in general, because it's like, especially like horrifying disease, where it like mutates or it changes a person, how it affects them, but it's also the psychological aspect of it, and that turns it sort of visceral, and I think that's what has made him such an enduring director and an enduring voice in like body horror in general. Yeah, like he's definitely, like, his prowess has been like praised throughout like the decades, and I couldn't agree more. Most of his movies involve scientists, psychologists, doctors that either make modifications to humans that eventually cause a calamity in social order, like Shivers, Rabid, The Brood, Scanners, and others that involve weird hallucinations and realities, like Dead Ringers, Naked Lunch, Existence. He has stated, okay, so this part we're towards like the end of the movie. I know. It's actually really, really upsetting. Yeah, when he like points the gun at his head and Geena Davis is like, no, I can't do it. It's actually like really, The Fly is a fucked up like love story. It is.
Of course it is.
Because he just got mutated in with the fucking pod, so he's got like a weird fucking pod like thing on
Like
his
metal.
back. Yeah, he's like a fucking
Yeah.
horrible, and he's just like in unendurable pain.
Yeah.
Well, like
What a terrible, terrible.
the thing I wanted to say about body horror too is that you can like any other type of horror, you can like run from it or hide from it or like stay awake to avoid it or whatever you gotta do
Can't
to avoid
avoid
it.
a virus.
But if something's happening in your own body, like there's nothing you, and I think that's why it's so scary to people. Is
Yeah.
you can't run from your own body.
Disease.
Yeah,
and
can't
it's-
stuff.
escape your own
It's
body.
I
like
know.
facing your own mortality and facing like something like, you know, like a disfigurement or something that would change the way that society perceives you. All these elements about and questions are what I think David Cronenberg's like movies make us think about.
Yeah, well, he has stated that his movies should be seen from the point of view of the disease. Some interesting things about him before I get into his movies. George Lucas considered him to direct Return of the Jedi.
Jokes upon
Right?
jokes.
Isn't that fucked up? Yeah, he was actually offered the role to direct Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
But he was never contacted. He considered him, but he didn't actually offer it to him.
Smart
Sorry.
move.
This is actually kind of cool, has always wanted to work with Burt Reynolds.
I know. I read that as well, and I was
His whole career, he's always
Yeah.
wanted to work with Burt
Why?
Reynolds. I don't know, because Burt Reynolds is awesome.
he's fucking
He's awesome.
Yeah, he is awesome. This is another thing that I just like absolutely love about him and like just being a Canadian in general,
Yeah.
is that he's a huge advocate of the Canadian government funding films through
Yep.
grants. Like all but 3 of his movies were all filmed in Ontario, and he says that every country should have a system of government grants. You can just apply for a grant. Like if
Yeah.
you're making a movie or you're like going on tour.
If
or
you're a
making,
musician.
making a video or anything like
Yeah.
that. Like Canada like gives us grants for that shit.
It's fabulous. Like Factor, I know, like because I'm a musician, like Factor is definitely a way that I think. I mean, to have the government actually be able to like, you know, sponsor
Help
or
finance and stuff,
help
yeah.
finance. It's a fantastic.
It's amazing.
It's amazing, and I don't know.
You don't have to pay it back either.
No, I think it just helps to bolster.
Creativity.
Yeah, the creativity, the arts in your country. It's like, why would you not want to have like this like
I know. Our country
amazing
is, like-
repertoire of films and music and
We're
stuff that
definitely
we
like
can
yeah,
be
like
proud
our country
of.
is big on representing our country in entertainment business. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like in film and music, and so it's great. It's wonderful. Like I really wish that it was like that everywhere, but unfortunately, it isn't. So obviously he's like in Nightbreed and has cameos in Into the Night and The Fly and Shivers and Videodrome. But in Videodrome he just wears a helmet and is like doing a body double for James Woods.
I can't.
You
with
can't
that
what?
movie.
Oh, we'll get into
Okay.
that.
All right.
And he's also has a cameo in Jason X.
Who? When?
Yeah,
What are you talking about?
he's in Jason X.
When?
Yeah.
When?
He, I'm like blowing Megan's mind
No.
right now. Yeah, I can't remember. I haven't seen Jason X in a really long time, and the only scene I remember is when he like freezes the girl's face and smashes it on the counter. But yeah, he has a very small cameo in Jason X. He recently
That's
actually.
a bad movie.
I know.
Wait a second.
First, and then you're like, oh yes, that's a
It's
bad
not
movie.
great.
I forgot that we were associating
generally
it
when they
with.
get to space is like when it starts to get bad.
Isn't that funny how he's like this innovator of
Dude,
film,
I know, and then he's in
Yeah.
Jason. I know. It's also a Canadian movie as well, so they probably asked him, and he was like, "Sure, why not? Like, whatever."
I hate that mask.
I know the metal one. I know. But yeah, so he published his first novel in 2014. It's called Consumed, and I have it, but I haven't read it yet. But it's been compared to William S. Burroughs, and William S. Burroughs
He's one of his
is
heroes.
like heroes, like biggest inspirations. He turned down directing RoboCop and Top Gun.
Okay.
I don't even know why they offered him
I
Top Gun.
don't. What?
I know. Yeah, they offered him Top Gun. RoboCop,
okay.
I can see, yes, but
RoboCop, yeah,
Top
because
Gun?
RoboCop has all those existential questions that I
yeah,
That's another body.
think, yeah, body horror-ish
Horror.
sort of movie, but like,
but like Top Gun, Highway to the Cronenberg Zone.
that's fucking weird.
Yeah,
That's
but
really weird.
This is also another thing that I just love about him so much. He's an atheist, and he has stated that anytime he's tried to squeeze himself into a box of any particular religion, he feels claustrophobic and oppressed, and that atheism is an acceptance of what is real.
Oh, yay.
So I do love that.
Yay, science!
Yay, science!
I also love that in some of the trivia that I read that Martin Scorsese saw some of his earlier movies and was like, oh, I like this guy, I want to meet him. And he told him he looked like a fucking Hollywood plastic surgeon.
Weird.
Who told who?
Martin Scorsese was
told
like,
David
yeah,
Cronenberg
he was like, yo, you look like a fucking Hollywood
He
plastic
did. He's
surgeon.
got like the high hair.
He's
I
got,
guess,
yeah,
and
like,
he's with the
he's got
Didn't
like a
he say
weird
that he was like, I was
look
reading,
about him.
didn't Martin Scorsese say that he like wanted to meet him, but he was like afraid to meet him?
Yeah, he was
and then
afraid.
David Cronenberg was like, you made Taxi Driver and you're
Yeah.
afraid to meet me.
Right? Yeah.
Ah, fuck
And then
shit.
subsequently said, you look like a Hollywood plastic surgeon.
Yeah. Okay, so, basically, I want to run through his movies and talk about each of them. Not every single one. Sorry, I'm not going to, like, make this a 3-hour long episode. But I have
We
made
totally
them...
could.
I have made them into 2 separate lists. So, I'm going to talk about the ones that he wrote and directed, and then I'm going to talk about the ones that he just directed.
Yes.
Okay,
Cool.
so Shivers is the first one that I'm going to mention.
Because that was like his first, like, big movie. I think
Yeah,
the
like, he did
first
a couple before.
Stereo and Crimes of the Future
Yeah.
were both silent in black and white, and then they had overdubbed commentary after the fact. So they technically weren't, like, full films.
Yeah, like I guess like Shivers was like his first like feature
Actual
film
feature
that was
film,
like
yeah.
released
Yeah.
in the theaters.
Yeah.
So Shivers, I love Shivers. Originally, it was titled Orgy of the Blood Parasites.
Well, I don't know. I think that's a little bit too much.
Yeah, that
But
is too much.
I think Shivers is a little more succinct, and I started watching it today. I didn't finish it, but
Have you
I
seen it,
really
Megan?
enjoyed it.
No.
Okay, it's fantastic. Like honestly, David Cronenberg is a fucking genius. Like he just comes up with such good ideas. Okay, so it's about a doctor who does experiments by implanting a parasite into a woman,
Okay.
which causes uncontrollable sexual desire.
Okay.
But after he kills her and then he kills himself, because he like feels remorse and everything. So he is crazy.
So he made this bitch super horny and then killed her?
No, sorry. He does the experiment on her and he implants a parasite into her. I guess it causes uncontrollable like sexual desire, but it went wrong, so he killed her. And then he felt bad, so he killed himself. But after that happens, the parasite like comes out of her body and it's loose in this high-rise building like where he lives,
I see.
where he conducted the
And it's on an
operation.
island,
And
so they have it's a
Montreal,
very like
too.
it's like
It's
a
filmed in Montreal.
microcosm.
Oh, gorgeous.
So it's
Yeah.
like nobody can escape. It's on an island.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, so everybody in the building, in the high-rise building, is infected and like all horny. But it's a lot of his early movies are very zombie-esque. So they're like really horny and like have uncontrollable like sexual desire, but it's like in a unnerving manner. Like it's like I'm gonna fucking like kill you, like or eat you, you know what I mean? But also fuck you. Yeah, it's really fucking good. It's awesome.
Yeah, I found that because I watched Shivers and I watched Rabid, and I just find that like, especially like his earlier movies, like there's a lot of the Cronenberg like creepy disease like creature like infestation like parasite kind of concept, but everything is so sexualized.
Yes,
in it.
I know. It's
Like Rabid, like, and I know that like Marilyn Chambers was a porn star, and I don't know if that was like, I know like the person that he wanted to originally cast was Sissy Spacek,
yeah.
but like that he intentionally cast Marilyn Chambers because she was a porn star, almost because it's like the way that in Rabid they're like she like feeds, like she's like you like is pressing like the other person against her and like she's like moaning and it's like fucking it's very sexual.
Yeah, it's the producers definitely
pretty disturbing.
encouraged him to hire Marilyn Chambers like for the sex appeal. But Rabid is definitely another great Cronenberg movie. So have you seen it, Megan?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen Rabid.
Yeah, so she undergoes like an experimental plastic surgery after being in a motorcycle accident. And so she has this like phallic appendage that it's like under her armpit. It extends like a stinger that she uses on her victims, and she has to like feed on their blood. But anybody that she feeds on like become infected, so it's like another like zombie-esque style. I really liked it. I definitely like Shivers better. But so then I watched The Brood.
I've never seen The Brood.
The Brood is
Neither
the last like 10-15 minutes of that movie are fucking fantastic. Like that's when the Cronenbergy shit happens. Like the last like 15 minutes of that movie are so good. I guess I won't spoil it just in case anybody hasn't seen it, but basically the plot, The Brood is loosely based on the unraveling of his first marriage, because he had a daughter with his first wife and had a very tumultuous custody battle. And in the movie, it's about a man's wife who's like completely crazy. She's like lost her shit, and she's under the care of a psychologist in a rural area. And after picking up his daughter from a visit with her, he sees like bruises on her back and stuff like that. So he's like, I'm not bringing her back here anymore. But he's very interested in what these experimental like procedures that he's doing on her, because it's like nothing is changing. She's still crazy. So he like investigates this guy's like practice, but it's very shady because every time he goes there, he's like, you can't see her, you can't come in, and blah, blah, blah. I can't tell you anything because it'll be detrimental to her progress, and blah, 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 blah. But then meanwhile, in the town, murders are occurring from these little kids that are like deformed, and they all have like cleft lips.
Ooh.
Morgan, ooh.
Ew. So they're like deformed, like mutant children, and there's a connection between the children and the crazy wife. So I won't spoil it, but the last like 15 minutes is like, it's so Cronenbergy, like it's amazing.
Sweet.
Like honestly, when I was watching it, I was like, my eyes, like I wasn't blinking like at all. Like I was like, this is genius. Like it's just so, it's like so vile and like disgusting, and that's what I just like love about him, is that he pushes the limits.
Always. He always does.
Always. Okay, so Scanners.
Scanners is I feel like Scanners
probably the most iconic. I mean,
yeah, like I know that like Rabid apparently was the first movie that gained him international attention, but Scanners to me is the first movie that like put him on the map.
Well, you know what's funny about that is that apparently Scanners was the most frustrating movie for him to direct.
Really?
Because there was a lot of problems with the production timing. So at one point he had to write and film at the same time.
Oh.
So it was really stressful for him.
Well, how the fuck did he pull that? I mean, he is a genius,
yeah,
obviously.
he pulled it off, but it was really stressful. But I fucking love Michael Ironside.
Oh my
so,
god.
Like, here's my boyfriend. I love him so much, like Revik. Oh god. But that, even just like his storylines are so creative. Like I love it. Like it's like a lot of people who may not have seen Scanners or have just like heard of it or maybe just seen it once, like they just know it because of the head explosion scene and assume that it's about a movie about these people that are scanners that can like make people's heads blow up. That's like a fraction of the story. Like, and I love like how deep he gets, and everything about like the business and how they hire the other guy to find Revik, but then like you find out that there's like a guy that's like working for Revik undercover with like the other people, and there's like this like rivalry between the scanners, and like Michael Ironside's character is like trying to build his own army of scanners to take over like the weapon industry and take over the world and like this and that, and like even just like the scene at the end when they're like scanning each other is so fucking good. Like it's so amazing. Like when Michael Ironside's eyes are like fucking like yellow and he's like, like it's so fucking awesome. Like it's so good. I love it. Michael Ironside, he's such a babe. I love it. See you at the party, Richter.
Oh my god. I wish that he would like
do cons because he lives
Or
in Toronto.
something.
He lives like 2 hours away from us.
I know.
I really wish. I just want to meet him and give him a big hug and take him out to lunch or something.
Oh,
Go for
that's
brunch
so
like a lion.
precious.
I know I love him so much. But yeah, so Videodrome.
Videodrome is one of those movies that's like
Nope.
that shit put it. You don't like that shit?
Nope.
Really?
Why can't you do it?
It's okay.
Is it because
well,
James Woods creeps you out?
It's because the first and second time I saw it, I was with my mother.
Oh, okay. Well, that would definitely put a stigma to that movie.
You're like, but not only
you know what? I
once,
think I knew that
but
about you, but I
twice.
totally forgot about that. Why did you watch that with your mother the second time?
Twice.
Your mom's pretty cool, though.
I don't care. Have you? The movie is like so. I mean, like you said, Morgan. Like a lot of the stuff he does is highly like sexualized.
Yeah, it is.
Right? I
And
mean,
it doesn't. It's not
obviously-
even
And that
sex,
is very
but it's so
sexualized.
sexualized.
Oh my
Actually, Scanners
God.
Scanners is one of the only movies that doesn't involve
Yeah,
sex.
yeah.
But okay, aside from being weirded out by watching Videodrome with your fucking mom, do you like it?
I do. Of course, I like it. James Woods is like really.
He's creepy as
so
fuck.
creepy. I mean, that movie's just like. Who comes up with that shit?
Fucking Cronenberg,
Right?
man.
Like, who
I know.
the fuck comes up with that shit?
Yeah, okay. Videodrome is probably one of the movies of his that I first watched at a
sense.
young age, and I've been like obsessed with it like ever since. But once again, what I love about Videodrome is the existentialist tone about reality and TV replacing every aspect of life and society.
Yeah.
I actually tried to like find some articles about that online. Like there's not really much on the Wikipedia that like tells you about that, but like people could probably write books about Videodrome and like the subject matter alone.
Oh yeah, it's definitely, especially during the time, a social commentary for sure.
Well, yeah, because like especially like, okay, well, like before I get to Existence, because in Existence, like that's like when like virtual
That's
reality
when
and
that shit
computers,
gets-
like
yeah,
that's when like
yeah.
computers started to like
Yeah.
take over. But before that happened, like in the 80s, it's like there were these visionary like writers and directors that knew that it was going to that way and that direction.
Yeah.
So in Videodrome, like I just love that. Yeah, so like James Woods like has these hallucinations and they imply like the loss of his like ability to control your own mind, and TV has like shifted reality, and so there's like side effects like after you watch Videodrome, but it makes you question like, well, like what's like really real, what's not, and there's a lot of similarities between Existence and Videodrome, and there's always like one scene in Videodrome that always like resonated with me, was the part because Brian Oblivion is the character that is only seen like through a TV screen, and he was the creator of Videodrome, but then he found out that people were using Videodrome as like like in a negative way, and then so he knew that people eventually were out to kill him, and then so he was killed, and then but before he died, he knew that people were out to kill him because he wanted to get rid of Videodrome, but people were like, no, we want to use it for our own like negative like satisfaction, for like murder or whatever. And so he made like hundreds of tapes or whatever, and like kept them like in this like library, and his daughter like kept these tapes for like any type of like social commentary like in the future that was needed, because Debbie Harry's character was like James Woods was like defending the station that he works for that play like softcore porn but also hardcore porn, and then like but she is like a therapist or whatever, and then she's like attacking him, but then Brian Oblivion is like he has all these like tapes like ready like for anybody who would like question anything like that. So his daughter was like the one that I guess controlled all the library of his tapes and everything. But there was like one part in the movie that always resonated with me where Brian Oblivion is talking about how like the television screen is like the retina of the mind's eye, and then like eventually the TV screen becomes your brain, and then your brain can't perceive like what is real and what is not. So like eventually like TV is just gonna like be the future and like take over people's minds, and then people will not be able to even control their own minds. And like it's just like that's heavy shit, especially for the 80s.
It is, but like, is it not like such an interesting concept that like, I don't know, we've gotten to a point like with the internet and things like that. It's like, it makes you really question like, I don't know, just like how people perceive the news and reality and things like that. It's really interesting.
That's why I think he's a genius, because like a lot of like it just blows my mind that this movie was even made like fucking like 30 years
he's
ago.
thought
You know what I
so
mean?
deeply about concepts that only now we're realizing the effects
that people,
of certain
some people
things.
haven't even realized yet.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
It's very interesting.
Well, Andy Warhol called Videodrome the Clockwork Orange of the 80s, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I love, because we're just a couple hours away from Toronto, that Civic TV is supposed to be City TV.
Yeah.
Remember City TV?
Yeah.
Of course
I love how Canadian-centric David Cronenberg is.
Yeah.
Like, he refused to film outside of Canada for so long. Like, the first movie that he actually filmed in the U.S. was the last movie that he made.
That he did with Julianne Moore.
Yeah,
well, and then,
in 2014. Like, he filmed in Europe and stuff.
Yeah, he filmed
like,
M. Butterfly in China. Like, part of it was filmed in
Yeah.
China. But yeah, like...
like, in the U.S., though, he didn't film in the U.S. until the last movie.
Well, I mean, like,
that
why
actually
would he,
made.
right? If, like, our government is
Why
funding
would
his
you?
movies, right?
Yeah, like, and I really appreciate that. Like, he's very, very into, you know, just like being a Canadian, and he's been like honored with tons of awards.
Oh yeah, I think I was reading somewhere in an interview where somebody asked him about like his political stance or something on something, and he was like, I don't have to have a political opinion. I'm a Canadian or something like that. Yeah, he said something like that.
He has the Fellow of the Royal Society of Canada award. He has the Order of Ontario award, and he also has the Order of Canada, which is the second highest. It's almost like being knighted in Canada.
That's
pretty
cool.
much.
Oh,
yeah.
And the Governor General's Performing Arts Award.
Yeah,
Nice.
like he's like literally been given like all these prestigious awards by the Canadian government.
You know what though?
Because he's a fucking national treasure.
Well, he is, and he's a world-renowned treasure. And Canada, you know what? I love our country. We have a lot of great things in our country. However, we don't have, like, share. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have these giant things like the States does. So for us to have Cronenberg, I feel like Canada's really, like, celebrated that.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, we have Tragically Hip.
Yeah.
They were like, well, yeah, fart. But they were like,
Well, yeah, fart.
Okay, I get it. Fart.
Fuck, I hate that band.
But they were like a really big fucking deal, right? And like Canada, like I said, we don't have Elvis Presley, and we don't have like
Very,
fucking
very proud that
Marlon
we have
Brando.
David Cronenberg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was reading, like you, Morgan, all the awards and shit that he has, and it was almost like, all right, Canada, ease up.
Right?
Could you put your fucking lips up his ass any further?
Right.
I know, right?
But you know what?
But
though?
he's
Like,
well deserved it.
No,
I think it's great
Exactly.
that Canada, as far out as David Cronenberg is, I appreciate that the country has respected and appreciated the contributions that he's made to art in our country.
Okay,
Right.
so Dead Ringers. Megan, have you seen Dead Ringers?
Of course I hate.
Okay, so
I watched it yesterday.
Okay, I watched
I'd
it
seen
just
it before,
a couple
but
days
yeah,
ago.
I watched it yesterday.
had only seen half of it a few years ago, and I never finished it, but I watched it a couple days ago. So he directed it and co-wrote it, but did you know that it's based on like kind of like real people? It's kind of based
I
on
did not
real
know
people.
that.
Okay, so it's actually really, I'm surprised that you didn't read about this, Morgan.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so it's actually based on real, identical twin gynecologist brothers.
Oh no, I did read about all that.
Stuart and Cyril Marcus.
Super
they were both
loosely based.
Yeah, it's like it's just loosely based on their, like, obviously he like elaborated like the he obviously Cronenberged it up.
Yeah.
But like yeah, so it's based on real identical twin gynecologists like Stuart and Cyril Marcus, who were practicing gynecologists in New York City. They both died a day apart. So they both died of barbiturate, which is like a central nervous system depressant withdrawal, and it's still a mystery to this day whether or not it was a suicide pact. They both like went to school together, they both became doctors together, they both lived in the same apartment building, and then when one of them's relationship ended, he moved in with his brother. So
and then they just spiraled out of
control.
control.
They both tricked women as well.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but that movie, it's probably the least Cronenberg-y movie.
Yeah, like there's
don't
only
love it.
there's
It's
only
a
one
drama, for
part
sure.
where it gets Cronenberg-y,
Yeah,
where
because
like
when
the
he's,
dream
like,
where they're
dreaming
like
when they're
stuck
attached.
together.
Yeah.
But
it
other
is
than
a
that,
good-
it's very psychological.
It is a good movie though. Like it's
Yeah,
an interesting movie.
It wasn't a terrible movie. I liked it. Jeremy Irons was very good.
Yeah, it must be very challenging to play your own twin.
I actually was like, while I was watching it, I was like, all the scenes where they're like, you know, he's playing himself and then the twin, and they have different like outfits and like different like I guess acting styles almost.
Yeah.
Even like one of them has a more like meek personality and
the
the
other
other
one
one
is
is
like,
more
more
like
confident.
verbose and confident. It's like, man, that actually must have been such a bitch to fucking film
well,
and
apparently,
and
like,
just do.
I was reading a little bit about it, and they gave Jeremy Irons 2 dressing rooms for the 2 separate characters, but he
Interesting.
decided to just have one dressing room. And the way that, because in the movie, I don't know if you remember, but their characteristics switch back and forth, because the one is the confident one and the other one is like the weak, docile kind of one. But then they switch a little bit, and then the other one becomes the confident one, and the other one starts like getting addicted to the drugs, and then he starts going to like a spiral of like depression and shit, but then they switch back. It's like really fucked up. Like it's like, and then so Jeremy Irons apparently, like, in order for him to keep track of like which brother he was playing, he made sure that when he was playing the one brother, that he was hunching on his right heel, and then while he was playing the other brother, he was hunching on his like left hip or something like that.
Interesting.
It made me think of Adaptation with Nicolas Cage.
Okay,
and, like,
that's a movie I've never
Cage,
seen.
It's great.
That's the
It's
one
so
where
good. It's so fucking good. It's amazing. It's honestly like, it's funny because people like see like Nick Cage as like, you know, like a silly, like kind of like, it's a fucking fantastic movie. It's Spike Jonze. But yeah, him playing his own twin in that movie really, really showed his talent for sure. Like Nicolas Cage is actually like a fucking fantastic, talented fucking actor. He plays his own twin in that movie too. So when I was watching Dead Ringers, I was thinking of Adaptation, and I was like, man, there's a lot of actors that actually that David Cronenberg like wanted for the role in Dead Ringers, but they were like, it's already difficult to play one role, I can't do 2. And apparently Robert De Niro was offered the role, but he didn't want to do it because he was uncomfortable with playing a gynecologist.
Okay.
yeah, but there's like,
Again, you're an actor. Shut your face. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, the idea of being a gynecologist in the movie is just kind of like a sidebar to what's actually going
it's like
on.
some actors play fucking brutal rapists, but you don't want to play a gynecologist.
I mean, like Robert De Niro,
come
like
on, man.
like Taxi Driver. Like,
I know.
You're like a psycho, but
yeah, like,
you
I
don't wanna look at
enjoyed
pussies.
Dead
Oh,
Ringers,
no.
but it's not gonna, it's not like,
Vagina.
yeah, it's not like up there for me, like with most of his
Health.
movies.
Oh god.
Sorry.
I hate that women are healthy.
Vaginas. Ew, gross.
Vaginas.
I'm not gonna go down there.
That movie again though, like not super Cronenberg-y, but very sexual.
Yes, for
like
sure.
the fucking
Of
the one
course.
scene where he's got her like tied up to the
yeah,
bedpost and
with
he's
like the tubes
like
and
creased
shit.
up and like fucking
I
her
know.
and
Oh,
shit.
I know. Jeremy Irons.
Yeah.
Oh.
Actually, you know what? Jeremy Irons not an attractive guy, but like he looks good in that movie.
Yeah.
Hey, you know who's not an attractive guy who I would fuck?
Oh my god.
I just want to put everything down. Hey, you know who? You
Steve
know
Harvey.
Who? He's hot. He's attractive. And I'd fuck that black man. Oh, girl.
I love you.
No, the guy in Slither and the guy from Like the guy from Slither.
Oh, and like Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
You think so?
I would
Michael
fuck
Rooker?
the shit.
You would.
Michael
You have a
Rooker?
thing for bald men. Why did I not know this about
Yeah.
you?
I didn't know it about me.
So, like Mallrats, we're talking to?
Yes.
When
Like,
he shakes his hand with the fucking palm fart. Oh man, that
Michael
is so
Rooker, like, for
funny.
real?
no, like we all have ugly men we'd fuck.
Yeah.
He would be very nice to do that with. I think.
Well, I guess it just depends on what you
You
consider
surprise
ugly.
me with every episode. I love you.
Oh my god. Megan, can you like have a blog on our website?
Dude, you should.
The problem is I'd sober up and I'd be able to delete it. I can't delete these. Once we make an episode, I cannot get rid of it. You know what I mean? No
You're
matter
not
how,
even like that
no,
drunk
I'm
right
not,
now,
I'm not.
too.
No, but like listen, you should get drunk, write your blog, email it to me, and then I'll never delete it.
Yeah, alright.
Done.
Hey, you never know, man. That could be your like future career.
If I could like live a day without wiping a grown man's ass, oh my god! Lord Jesus!
Y'all motherfuckers need Jesus.
Oh shit! Anyways, Lord, where are we at here?
Okay, so
We're at
What are we even
Existence.
talking
yeah, okay, so Existence. Have you guys seen Existence?
Yes,
No.
yes.
Oh,
Okay.
Megan,
You know what?
You should watch it.
What's it about?
Okay, so Existence, there's so many fucking similarities to Videodrome. It came out in
Okay.
99,
Oh.
and it's a later movie. It's
It's a
got
good
Jennifer
one.
Jason
It's
Leigh
very good.
and Jude Law. Pretty,
Yeah.
very pretty man.
He's pretty, but his penis is small.
How do you?
No.
You've never seen Jude Law's penis on the
on it.
internet? OMG.
Well, okay, so
I was on that shit long ago.
That's funny. He is a very pretty man, but
He's
yeah, Existence is. Like it has a lot of existential, definitely tones.
That movie
and
was
subject matter.
well thought
It
out.
has a lot of awards, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so Existence is great. It's got so the similarity with Videodrome is that even like the Cronenberg gun,
Yes.
like you
Yeah.
know in Videodrome how
Yep.
like the gun like goes into James Woods like wrists and
Yep.
stuff,
Yeah.
and like there's a gun in Existence as well that's pretty fucking cool, and the bullets are teeth.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's the Death 2 line is in both movies because in Videodrome, like James Woods says it, and in Existence, like they say it because of the Jennifer Jason Leigh's character. Are you looking up Jude Law's
I see
dick?
it.
Told you.
I see it. I see it.
I
Hold
told
on,
you.
where'd it go? It just went away. Hold on. Oh, and this
Good.
whole episode has us been just jerking off to Jeff Goldblum.
Pretty
and then
much.
jerking off to the next guy who comes to
I
mind.
know. I think that's every episode.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
Anyways,
well, back to
Existence.
Existence. Okay, so there's a lot of like social commentary about how we like rely on technology and the theory that it will like one day like take over mankind.
I feel so.
And our like inability to like blur the lines of reality.
Yeah.
And like if we rely on it, like at that time in like the late 90s and like early 2000s, like virtual reality and like computers were like booming. So I remember like when Existence was like first coming out in theaters, it was a big deal because it was like his first original screenplay since Videodrome.
right.
And this is actually kind of interesting, but it's purposely spelled with the X and the Z capitalized because the letters in between, like Isten, is Hungarian for God.
Oh, cool.
So I thought that was kind of
That's
cool.
really cool.
But yeah, David
Man,
Cronenberg.
David Cronenberg is like a fucking
he's
genius.
dude, I
Like,
know.
what a piece of shit.
I know.
What a piece of shit.
Fucking
smart.
Cronenberg. So he drew inspiration on the plot after talking with Salman Rushdie
Wow.
on his book The Satanic Verses.
Yes.
Because he had like death threats like from the
Yeah.
Muslim community
Yeah.
back then when that novel came out. So in the movie there are death threats against Allegra Geller, which is Jennifer Jason Leigh's character, because she designed the virtual reality game. So like in the
Right.
movie, there's like this like new fucking like virtual reality game that you plug into where like you can feel yourself, like everything is like so real.
Right.
But the pod is of course like a Cronenberg.
Oh my god! I remember. Okay, no, I just have to tell you, I hadn't seen this movie until I started dating Ben. Ben was the one who's like, "Oh, have you not seen Existence?
It's so
really
good."
And like, the pod thing that you like when you plug into it and you're like playing the game.
It's also very sexual.
Yeah, it's so sexual. It's like it's
like a fucking clit.
It's like a nipple. It's like the
like a
things
nipple
it's
and
like
a clit,
nipples, and you're like you're like holding it, and it's like a controller, like an NES controller.
So, but it has
there's
like a tube.
nipples and like clits on it, and you're like fucking like
Yeah. So, but it's got like
crazy.
a tube attached to it, and you have to have a port. That's like inserted into your body. So the port is at the bottom of your spine. So then it connects like inside of your spine and goes into your central nervous system. So that's how you go into the game. Right. And so you're in this like alternate like reality.
Yeah.
Right. But
the controller is like so.
I know, it's very sexual. Like even like the way that the pods fucking like cord like goes into the hole like at the bottom of your spinal cord is like it's all sexual. Like it's like a fucking it's like a butthole like or like a vagina. Like the way that it goes in like they have to like lubricate it and shit, and like she puts it in her mouth and like licks it and stuff and like puts it in the hole like at the bottom of your spinal cord. Like it's all sexual, but it's also very like when they're in the world, in the VR world, like, and then when they come out and it's like, are they really out of the game?
Right. I love that.
Then you'll love Existence, and you'll fucking love
You should watch it.
I'll lend it to you. It's so fucking good because you still think like when they come out of it, they're like confused and they're still like, are we still in the game? I don't know. Like, is this real? I don't know.
Like Inception.
It's amazing. It's so fucking good.
Whoa,
but yeah, so now I'm gonna like discuss some Cronenberg movies that he just directed and didn't write. So The Dead Zone.
Yeah.
Stephen King.
You're like,
yeah, it's a good one. I watched it yesterday.
Yeah.
Christopher, you can't go wrong with
I
Christopher
haven't watched it in
Walken.
a while, but it's a good movie. I like it. Christopher Walken's all right.
It was one of my like
Wow.
less enjoyable Stephen King books. Like as far as like a story, Stephen King story goes, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, Naked Lunch. Naked Lunch.
All right, okay, I just have to say right now,
You haven't seen it,
I've
have
never
you?
seen it.
Naked Lunch is
Dude,
so funny.
dude,
Okay,
Naked Lunch is fucked!
But I will say that I appreciate that David Cronenberg has acknowledged the fact that Naked Lunch, as the William S. Burroughs book, if it was to be translated literally, I think his quote was that it would cost
like $400 million.
It would be $400 million, and like you couldn't market it anywhere; it'd be X-rated.
Right.
I am going to lend
Banned
you
in
Naked
every
Lunch.
country, is what he said.
Dude, I am going to lend it to you. It's fucked.
Yeah, it's
Naked
fucked.
Lunch is so fucked up. I haven't read the book. I've always wanted to read the book. I really want to fucking read it. And when I was doing some research on it, I was actually like, wow. Like, okay. So William S. Burroughs is one of David Cronenberg's like biggest fucking influences and heroes. And as Morgan said, the novel was considered unfilmable and would be banned in every country if it was like made as a straight translation.
And so good for David Cronenberg to actually like
attempt
give
it
that
and
a
actually
shot.
make it successful. Okay, so but this is crazy. There are incidents in the novel that are actually loosely based on William's life and characters of people that he actually knew, including Jack Kerouac.
I love
So
that.
That's cool.
Even the
Best
part.
name.
Okay, so I'm not going to spoil it, I guess, but like it doesn't really
care.
matter. But like even the part where Peter Weller like accidentally shoots Joan, that's a fucking true story, dude.
No shit.
Okay, so
I was just actually
get
reading
this
that.
though. William S. Burroughs actually shot his fucking common law wife Joan, who is that's the same name in the book and the movie of the wife character, and she also actually used to be married to Jack Kerouac.
Ooh, damn.
And he shot her in a drunken attempt at playing William Tell, which is the game where you fucking put an apple on someone's fucking head and shoot it.
I hate that.
Yeah, and he fucking shot his wife, dude, in Mexico. So he fled to the States, and he was convicted and sentenced to 2 years.
2 whole years.
Because it happened in Mexico.
Because it happened.
Yeah, because,
in
like,
Mexico.
Yeah, there's crazy fucking laws there. But yeah, isn't that insane? Because there's like that part in Naked Lunch where he shoots his wife, but then she comes back somehow like as a different character who similarly looks exactly like her, played by the same character. But like that movie is so fucked up. Like bug typewriters with giant boners and shit.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck?
I don't
know.
the fuck?
Like what?
I just want to read the book.
Dude, I know. I want to read that book so badly. But like that part where like the typewriter like gets a giant boner and then like he's having Morgan's face. It's like what? And like Peter Weller and Joan are like having sex and like it turns into this like alien bug creature with appendages and a giant boner and it's like on top of them and like humping them like
Oh my god!
It's so fucked
Those
up.
sound effects!
Don't
It's
do that.
fucked, man. It's fucked.
Terrible.
Naked Lunch is great, though. It's amazing. And Peter Weller actually turned down RoboCop 3 to do. RoboCop
No
3.
shit.
No shit, because RoboCop 3 was...
No shit.
Yeah.
He should have
Making
turned
lots of
down
fart noises
too.
with my mouth. But yeah, so the next movie I want to bring up, which I'm a big fan of, that I actually didn't know was based on a novel, but Crash. Have you guys seen Crash? With James Spader,
Is that
Holly
the one-
Hunter?
Is that the one, or is that Traffic that I'm thinking of? No, Crash is the one where there's all these different stories and they all come together. Okay,
No,
what am
okay.
I fucking
Well,
thinking of?
Okay, actually,
This
you know,
is
I'm
a
gonna
different-
fucking say something about that bullshit.
Oh yeah, no, because you're thinking of the Paul Haggis Crash.
Yeah, so that
There's another movie, Crash.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that it's bullshit that they fucking
Are you allowed
titled.
to do that?
Well, here's the thing. Actually, from what I read, David Cronenberg was like, it's actually super disrespectful.
It's very disrespectful
that Paul Haggis named his movie Crash,
he was
and he was
very
allowed
disappointed
to do it.
when the 2004 Crash movie came out with the same name, and he stated that it's very disrespectful to the author of the novel that his movie was based on. Like, they shouldn't have used the same
They shouldn't have been
title.
allowed
How
to.
do you get away with that? How do you get away with that when
Maybe
some
because
people...
that Crash is an American movie, and because David Cronenberg's is a Canadian movie, maybe?
Well, it's hard to say because I assume at that point that David Cronenberg was allowed to. I mean, he might have filmed it in Canada, but Crash won awards at like Cannes.
You mean like the 2004 one?
No,
Or
David
the
Cronenberg.
one?
Yeah, he won awards for it and stuff. So it was a internationally known movie. So I don't know how that would work.
I remember when the other Crash came out, and it bothered me too because there's already a fucking amazing movie called Crash.
Yeah,
like don't fucking steal the goddamn title.
Yeah, it really makes it very complicated, and I can imagine how it made it complicated for him.
Yeah.
Like with like. You know, I don't know, like, as a musician for me, like, I'm always, like, worried about, like, royalties and things like that. It's, like, how do you differentiate, like, a movie, like, that you've made called Crash and then the other movie? It's just, I don't know, it's just, like, it's fucked.
I don't really know the politics, to be honest.
It's like somebody naming
it
your
pissed me off,
band
and it obviously pissed
the
him
same
off,
name
too.
as... Like somebody naming their band
But
the same name as
I
your
didn't
band.
think it would be legal. Let's say, I live in Canada and I want to name my band the Blue Hot Chili Peppers. Am I allowed to fucking do that? Even though it's not the Red Hot Chili Peppers, I'm going to call it the Blue Hot Chili Peppers. Am I fucking allowed to do that? Like, would I be... I don't know. I'm confused by all of it.
See, the thing is that, like, you would be, and if you would be, it's like, you would still be, like... partially scrutinized, but the thing that pissed me off about the Crash movie is that it's the fact that the 2004 Crash movie got all these like fucking like awards and
accolades
recognition, and it's like, but there's already a fucking movie named Crash that you're taking away like the attention from,
and they're both
that
about
movie.
They're both literally about crashes. Like
I've never seen the other one, actually, to be honest.
Well, it's about car crash. It's about...
Is it? I don't even know what it's about.
It's about... It's another... Like, there are a bunch of stories that kind of come together, but, like, the main one, there's a car crash.
Really?
And, I mean, Crash is about sex and...
It's a great movie. I love it, honestly. Well, I mean, I'm kind of biased because I love James Spader, but
Is he
it's
still
actually...
hot in that movie, though?
Fuck yes, man. He actually... There's a scene where he fucks a dude.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
What?
There's
Omega
a sex-
Love
I know. James Spader fucking like full
in your
out like
face.
makes out with the fucking dude. It's awesome. It's great. But it's actually, you know what I love? You know what I love about Crash?
Can we watch it afterwards?
It's amazing. It's so
Let's
fucking good.
watch
It's
it
basically
tonight.
it's a movie about people who get off on car crashes.
Yeah. I knew that.
But it's, you know what I love about it though, when I was doing my research on Cronenberg, considering all of his movies, okay, considering like how fucked up all of them are, Crash is considered to be the most controversial one. Isn't that crazy? Because of how much graphic sexual content is in it. There was even a petition to have it banned in the UK, and a council did ban it from being shown in the West End of London. And the West End of London is where all the fucking movie theaters are.
I don't get it. I don't get why movies need to have so much sex.
Well, here's a question for you.
I don't.
Why is it
That's a good question.
that movie?
Because, I mean, I guess the book
well,
probably
yeah,
has a lot of sex
exactly,
in it, right?
because it's based on a book. David Cronenberg is just
he just picked it, he was like,
directing.
ooh, sex.
Yeah,
Pick that one.
but why is it, of all of his movies, that one is the one that had the most...
You want to know why?
Controversy?
Because I bet you it's people getting turned on by tragedy. Could be, right?
Or pain or
Maybe,
something.
or here's another interesting aspect that might actually be Cronenberg-y, is that Crash 2004. Mm-hmm. A lot of his more controversial, more horrifying, more body disgusting kind of movies at a time when the internet was not a thing. So I feel like in general, it's a big topic, obviously, but the internet hyper awares everyone about things that are going on. It's like everyone is
people are not like people are like desensitized.
Yeah,
basically.
everybody is always offended. They always know. It feels like things that are happening in the world are so much closer to them because tragedy is always happening because everyone is always informed about what's going on. The internet always constantly is giving you a barrage of information if you're there to receive it. And so maybe a movie like Crash had more controversy only because it was there to like absorb.
Yeah.
Whereas like in the 80s, it's like, where do you read about the controversy? The newspaper.
Yeah. And like magazines.
That's it.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, maybe 10 articles, 10 magazines pick it up. Oh, there's controversy. Whereas like on the internet, like you can have a hashtag about it, or you can have a fucking online petition about it. The internet has allowed for the world to become a smaller place, and therefore for more people to be grouped, to be outraged about things. So maybe that has something to do with it, because like to me, like the idea of Crash is not David Cronenberg's. It's not David Cronenberg's most outrageous and fucking disturbing fucking idea.
I know.
But maybe just it's positioned at a place in history where it allowed for that to happen.
And also
That's
like
all
maybe because it was more controversial because it paralleled like the idea of like sex and death together, and that's a biggie for like rating systems, like rate and all that. Like it's like if you like necromantics, like anything that involves like fucking dead people or anything like that, where it's like these people get off on the excitement of near death experiences and stuff like that. But I thought it was actually pretty interesting. It's funny that Martin Scorsese keeps like coming up on this episode, but he actually ranked Crash number 8 on his list of best movies from the 90s.
That's awesome.
Number 8.
Good
like
for him.
That's pretty fucking good. I really do love that movie. But yeah, James Spader.
Yeah.
Yay! Okay, so I'm almost done here talking about David, and so in his most like recent like newer movies, I just gotta give a shout out to A History of Violence and Eastern Promises.
Both of those movies are fabulous.
Those movies are so fucking good.
Fabulous.
If you haven't
Fabulous
seen
movies.
I like A History of Violence better than Eastern Promises, but just still, like, they're both fucking great, violent,
Both amazing
fucking
movies,
movies.
Yeah,
I just, like,
so
I have to
good.
emphasize that with, like, the word fuck, because they're that good. They are amazing fucking movies. And last one on my list here, I was a huge fan of Cosmopolis. I know you haven't seen it.
I've never
Have
seen
you
it.
seen
No, I
it?
haven't.
And
Okay, so
you know what?
guys
And I
haven't
was
seen
kind
it.
of like, Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, but who cares though, right? Like, but you can't, like, haha, that's funny, right? Yeah, like, fuck the Twilight movies or whatever. But, I mean, it's like, you can't really blame a person, an actor,
No,
for
I
being
get it.
typecast, right?
I
like,
know.
but he did a good job, and I don't really care about his, like, celebrity status or whatever. Like, I watched it, like,
You know what, look-
like, as a unbiased, like, viewer, and as, like, a Cronenberg fan, and I've never seen, I think I watched the first Twilight movie, and I was like, whatever, it's like a kid's movie, but, like, whatever. But no, he did a good job, and I mean, he didn't suck or anything like that, but the actual movie is really fucking brilliant. That is the word that I would describe Cosmopolis. If anybody is interested in seeing it and you had, like, reservations because it had the guy from Twilight or anything like that, just ignore that. But just that, like, it is a brilliant movie, but just to give you a heads up, it's very, very dialogue heavy. The entire movie is all very fucking heavy dialogue. But it's brilliant, but it's so good. But just to give you a heads up, if you want to watch it, just be prepared to fucking sit down and pay attention. Don't be on your phones. Don't be, like, like, just listen to the dialogue. Basically, Cosmopolis is a movie about a billionaire who is what's his name, Robert Pattinson. So he's a billionaire, and he is going on, like, a limo ride to get a haircut, but has all these, like, different encounters with people who talk about the meaning of life. And traffic jams and riots are occurring in Manhattan, where he lives, because the president is visiting the city, and anti-capitalist, like, activists are, like, throwing rats everywhere and violating the streets and everything. And his world starts to, like, disintegrate, and he starts to, like, follow a path of, like, self-destruction throughout the movie while encountering, like, different, like, visitors. So it's, like, it's one of those movies where it's, like, you follow the main character throughout the whole movie and his, like, throughout his day.
Right.
And so throughout his
it's a day?
Yeah.
I love that.
It's just
I love
one
it.
And then the end of his
one
day is like,
yeah,
what
and
the
yeah,
fuck?
it's great. It's so,
Oh, I love that.
honestly, like, I would recommend watching it when you're focused.
Yeah.
So it takes place, like, during, like, a whole day, like, an evening, and throughout the movie he does, like, have a wife who is the woman in Antiviral, and cool. She's the only character that I think that appears more than once.
Right.
But throughout the movie there's just, like, different encounters and everything, and, like, the whole time they're just talking about, like, theories and, like, the meaning of life. So it's a very, like, meaningful type of movie,
right.
where, like, they're having, like, construct, like, conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I have to acknowledge the last scene, the very end scene with Paul Giamatti.
Ooh,
is
Paul
the
Giamatti.
best, the best fucking scene in the whole movie. That scene is amazing. It's just, that's all I'm gonna say. I love Paul Giamatti.
He's great. He's great.
I've over the years have adapted a fascination with Paul Giamatti.
Oh,
he's
so good.
fantastic. He's a great actor, and it's like he chooses his roles, because every role that he plays is fantastic and interesting. The character that Paul Giamatti plays in Cosmopolis is worth it to just stick through the whole movie just for that last scene with Paul Giamatti. It's brilliant. It's so fucking good. But okay, so let's talk about Antiviral. So
I'm cool with
Brandon,
that.
Brandon.
So good,
So his son.
yeah.
So also he works with his sister too. Denise Cronenberg is also. She does most of the costumes for
cool.
his
That's
films.
really cool.
But because I've been a diehard David Cronenberg fan for many years, I was very fucking excited when I heard that his son was doing a
remember.
movie. I was
remember you
so
were.
fucking excited. And you know what? If you guys any of our listeners haven't seen Antiviral and you're a David Cronenberg fan, fucking watch it.
I watched it twice.
I have
almost
it.
back to back because
So
I just
good.
wanted to like.
Catch all the extra things.
I loved Antiviral. I heard that he was working on a new movie that occurred in on a different planet, but I haven't heard anything since. But I'm just gonna shortly talk about Antiviral because I really just admired it. The first time I watched it, it blew me away. The subject matter, it was just so brilliant. We live in you were talking about the internet earlier, and we were talking about celebrities earlier. We're living in a world where people are so obsessed with celebrities. Antiviral pushes that to the limit. So it takes place in a near future where a clinic buys viruses and pathogens from 6 celebrities and sells them to crazy fans that want the same sickness injected into them. So the main character, which is played by that Caleb guy who was actually in Get Out. Mm-hmm. He was the brother in Get Out. Great actor. Yeah. Oh my God. Such a good actor. So he works at the clinic and steals the pathogens and sells them on the black market by using his body as an incubator because the viruses are actually copyrighted and you can't leave the building without them. So he uses a stolen console to break the copy protection that is put on the viruses from the clinic. But you know what my favorite fucking thing about the story of Antiviral is that he sells the cells. I know that sounds weird. He sells the cells to a meat market where meat is grown from the celebrity cells so people can go and eat their favorite celebrities. It's going to get to that point. I guaranteed it. Maybe not in our lifetime, but people are so celebrity obsessed right now that when I watched that movie, I was you are exactly you're splitting image of your fucking
You
father.
want to buy Goldblum steak?
Imagine.
You want to eat Goldblum? Eat some Brundlefly?
I'd try some Goldblum.
I feel like if any of our listeners have ever read the Transmetropolitan series,
Oh, I haven't.
the graphic novels, it's exactly like that. It's exactly
Really?
like that. It's just the fucked up things that people in the future will do and put their
Yeah.
bodies through just
Yeah.
well, close to a celebrity.
It feels
yeah.
like it's
fucked up.
increasingly getting worse. Does it not? It just seems like it's, I don't know, the internet has allowed people to feel like they're so close to their favorite celebrities that it's what lengths will they go to?
Dude, there's some fucking crazy people out there, man.
There are.
There's this new movie, Ingrid Goes West, and it's about a girl who is obsessed with a celebrity, and she fucking moves to LA just to be near her, and she follows her on Instagram.
I hate that.
And go if she sees that she was at a restaurant, she'll go to the restaurant just to run into her, and steals her dog. And then when she sees that there's dog postings of lost dog, she brings the dog to her to pretend she brought her dog back and not tell her that she stole the dog just to get close to her and stuff. Yeah, Antiviral definitely pushes it to the limit for sure. And I was so fascinated by the plot. I thought it was just a fantastic fucking movie.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It was very good.
Yeah.
I agree. But also really creepy Cronenberg-y.
Yeah, it's it runs in the family.
Yeah, that creepiness.
Yeah. So
It's
the only
ingrained.
David Cronenberg movie that I haven't seen is Spider.
M-
with Ralph Fiennes.
Oh, really? No, I've never
Yeah,
seen
that's
it.
the only one that I haven't seen.
You've seen M. Butterfly?
No, and sorry, an Butterfly as well. I haven't
Is that
seen
like a Madame Butterfly?
Yeah, it is. It's about a guy who
Okay.
falls in love with an
Alright.
opera singer
Yeah,
in
yeah,
China
yeah.
or something.
Madame Butterfly, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one either. So M. Butterfly and Spider are the only ones that I haven't seen. But I believe that he just directed them. He didn't write them,
Okay,
right?
yeah, I've never. Yeah, well, Madame Butterfly is an opera,
Yeah.
so it would be the movie representation of the opera. But I've never
Interesting.
seen Spider.
Yeah. Well, so the movie has been over for a while, but because we have a lot to talk about. But since we watched The Fly, we're going to talk about The Fly too. So I actually like it. I like The Fly too. I mean, like compared to the first one, it's not like good compared to the first one. But as a standalone movie, I like it. You know what I like about it? Chris Wallace directed it. So Chris Wallace was the guy who did the special effects for The Fly. Yeah. So that's why I like it, because the special effects and the gore are fucking awesome. Yeah. Like the part where the guy's face melts off. Yeah, it's amazing. Like, so good. Like, I love that part so much. And so David Cronenberg has always never wanted to make a sequel to his own movie. Mm-hmm. So Chris Wallace did it, and he actually asked Geena Davis to reprise her role for the beginning, but she declined it. So Veronica was played by Saffron Henderson, who was also the badass fucking girl in Friday the 13th Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan, the girl that plays the pink flying bee. Fuck. I know. Amazing. Yeah, so Eric Stoltz plays Seth's son, and Daphne Zuniga, who is the girl from Spaceballs and The Initiation with Clu Gulager.
Oh, and wasn't she also on Melrose Place? Yeah, she was. Yeah, okay, Melrose anyways, Place. Melrose Place, I'm old.
I never watched Melrose Place, but that's the one with Heather Locklear, right?
I never did either, but
I watched 90210, though.
Oh man, the fucking wicked lead solo in that shit.
I know. But yeah, so Mick Garris and Frank Darabont worked on the screenplay with a couple others. Mick Garris fucking directed Sleepwalkers and Critters 2. And Frank Darabont directed Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, The Blob. He wrote Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 and The Blob, and he directed Shawshank Redemption and Green Mile.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, and so, but IMDb, and Rotten Tomatoes give it very low scores, but I enjoy it for the special effects alone, I guess.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I thought it was a decent movie on its own. I think it definitely holds up as completely separate. I find it interesting that there was a point in time where the script of the movie actually David Cronenberg endorsed. There was another write of The Fly 2 where they actually incorporated Seth Brundle, and it was more about the computers, and he apparently was in at the company where the telepods had eventually come to be.
Oh god.
And he was communicating to Veronica through the computers and stuff in a very early write. From what I read anyways. It seemed really weird, but apparently the way that it was written, David Cronenberg actually was kind of into it because it involved technology, and he was speaking through the computers or whatever. But that right eventually kind of just, I guess, got thrown out.
Well, and there's some
it was interesting.
There's some interesting things about rumored sequels of The Fly and remakes. So
David Cronenberg actually was he kind of wrote
a lot.
He didn't write a sequel, but it was more of
a parallel sequel,
companion piece. He said it was
but other people
on teleportation.
Yeah, so other people have actually attempted to remake The Fly. So in the late 90s, Geena Davis was actually involved with a possible sequel to be directed by her then husband, Rennie Harlin. And he directed Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, Die Hard 2, Cliffhanger, and it was called Flies. And the script was actually to be written by Richard Jeffries, who directed The Vagrant with Bill Paxton and Michael Ironside. And
that's
the story,
a boyfriend movie.
Yeah, for sure. That's our boyfriend movie.
That's a boyfriend movie. Sure.
And the story involved Veronica giving birth to twin boys, and she wouldn't have survived. But then in 2003, another sequel was announced to be directed by Todd Lincoln. Todd Lincoln did one of the VHS segments.
Nice.
But then in 2009, rumors started circulating that David Cronenberg was actually going to do a sequel, but then he addressed the rumors in 2011 by saying that he had a script written that was going to be financed by Fox, but there were a lot of up in the air facts. factors that were out of his control, and he said that he would make it if it was greenlit, but then nothing ever like came out of it. But then like a year later, he elaborated that Fox were looking for someone to remake his movie, and they approached Guillermo del Toro, and Michael Bay then suggested himself for it to do it. So they paid him to write a script, but then it got bogged down because of budget constraints and thinks that his script was too radical for them. So the story was actually going to be like an oblique sequel without containing any of the same characters, but with an understanding of modern technology. Right. So, but it just never happened.
Yeah, he said, I remember it saying it was like a meditation on teleportation. So it would be like maybe like an idea that the things that like Seth Brundle like came up with like in the 80s or whatever like became a reality,
but with
wherever.
like a concept of like modern technology.
Yeah, like a futuristic understanding of that technology, because I mean we do kind of have that technology
and we rely on it like as a society. So
yeah.
like he would have like for sure and like involved that in the movie for sure. But like he has a script and he was like, I have an idea, but I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Yeah,
like very
but all we know is that it's about teleportation, which could be very, very interesting.
But who knows if it'll ever get made, though, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know. It's weird because, like, some of the stuff that I read was, like, even the fucking interview with Viggo Mortensen saying that...
he was, like, considering retiring or something?
Yeah, that, like, he had, I mean, because, like, they had worked together for so long and they'd become friends, that Viggo was saying that David Cronenberg was thinking about retiring because he can't find good funding for the films that he wants to make.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, it's really sad. It's like, maybe he's just too radical of a filmmaker to... you know, to make the movies that he really wants to make. It's sad, like for big movie houses or whatever, quote unquote, you want to call it.
Well, maybe
like,
one day
sad.
he'll get his wish and work with Burt Reynolds.
Fuck.
Oh, we'd be so happy for him.
That would be so cute.
It'd just be the best
I know.
day. The best day.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're almost done here, but I just wanted to mention some honorable fucking body horror titles.
All right, here we go.
So here we go. Body horror. All right. So I'm a big fucking fan of this genre. Like, for me, Eraserhead is one that just pops up in my head like immediately.
Guys,
that
can
movie
I
is so
just
fucking...
can I just be honest with you? Can I tell you like a big secret about
You've
my
never
life?
seen it.
I've never seen it.
I know. It's actually kind of hard to get through. I'm a big David Lynch fan. That one is hard.
face,
That one's hard.
Morgan.
It's hard to get through, dude.
One time I watched it, and first of all, it was hard to get through.
Were you high?
Yes.
Yeah, so was I.
So high.
So high.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Like, first of all, it was hard to get through. Second of all, it was like, fuck.
It was. I agree. Okay. Altered States. Altered States is so good. Like, holy fuck.
So good, I'm like peeling my face off and eating it right now.
I know. I'm peeling scabs and putting them on my mouth.
Altered States is a fucking fantastic movie.
Altered States
I don't
is
know.
so good. Megan, have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
I
I've
didn't.
read all
You know
about
what?
it, but I've never
you know,
seen
it's
it.
funny because I've seen it recently, and I never thought that. I never would have associated it with like a body horror movie. I guess like
but
towards
the part
the end,
where, towards the end,
The end it
like,
becomes
he
body
grows
horror?
like his feet like grow. He like grows like the extra
yeah,
toe,
Yeah.
and then like when his arm is like bubbling
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
like,
So that it becomes
God.
body horror, but in the beginning,
it's so good.
it's more like the tank stuff, and like it's more about
it's about like sensory deprivation,
psychological
basically,
and like
Right.
hallucinations.
Oh,
It's
and stuff.
it's basically about like a doctor who's doing like experiments on sensory deprivation. So he places William Hurt in like a tank full of water, and while giving him like drugs, right? So
Yeah.
he hallucinates, and but then it like a lot like Cronenberg, like it parallels blurs the lines of like reality and
Right.
like what is real and
Yeah,
what's
then
not.
it becomes
and
like,
it's
well,
a lot
what's
like
real, what's
like
happening,
Jacob's
what's not.
ladder. Like it's like
Right.
so you have these like hallucinations, but then you start to hallucinate like okay, well when you're like conducting the experiments, but then you start to like see shit like in reality, but then you start to question reality. It's like, is this really real? Like, am I seeing this like for real, or is like am I being a subject of like an experiment right now, or am I really awake? Am I not awake? Like, but yeah, Altered States. Oh my god, like there's a lot
Fantastic
of like there's a
movie.
lot of religious tones in that movie.
That
as
one
well.
fucking
That's very,
scene where he's like
where
got
he's,
the goat head on the
I
cross
know,
and it's
oh
got
my
like a million
God.
eyes and
Megan,
he's like,
you would love
it's so good.
It's so good.
It's actually one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
It's a
Megan.
beautiful movie for sure. Definitely, hands down, great.
I will
It's
show you.
fantastic.
I'll show you this scene. Continue to talk. I'll show you. Megan.
Human Centipede. Human Centipede, I feel is body horror because it's one of those movies that creates something out of bodies that is unnatural, that makes you feel uncomfortable, and also it's fucking funny. I think it's hilarious.
So
It's funny, but you know what? Fuck the third one.
Oh, we tried to. We couldn't.
We couldn't do
even
it.
do
It was like
We couldn't even
watching.
do it. Oh, that's really cool. Look at all the eyeballs.
It's like a goat head.
I love that.
It's just like a weird
Dude,
fucking.
That's not
Megan,
what I expected.
I have it.
Transcendental.
I'll put it on a
Transcendental.
USB for you. It's so good.
It's really good.
But yeah, like it's just, I think it's hilarious being fucking like sewn to a butthole. Like that's like hilarious to me. But we
pretty
tried to watch
body
the third one.
horror,
It's so
I'd
bad.
say.
The third one is like watching like.
The third one's just pure comedy. Like it's pure, like, but not even good comedy.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
But the first and second one definitely really good. The Blob, the 1988
Yeah,
Blob.
the Blob,
There's a
yeah.
lot of body horror in that because
Yeah,
like
for sure.
when they start to like disintegrate and like morph into nothing,
Yeah.
like that fucks with your brain a little bit. I wanted to mention Baskin. So I originally thought that there was a supernatural element involved in the movie,
I remember
just
you
because of
saying
like the
that,
way
yeah.
that it was advertised in North America. Like I was like actually expecting Satan
Yeah.
to show up, but really it's not about that like at all whatsoever. And like the last like 20 minutes of the movie, and there's like people fucking in their own shit, and like the master is like the guy with like he's like deformed and everything, and like when they gut people's eyes out and stuff, like it's like that really makes people feel uncomfortable when like anything that like fucks with like a sensory organ, like your eyes
that's a good
or your
call.
ears or anything like that. I really admired. Yes,
That's a good
definitely.
call. Or like anything to do with like fingernails or eyeballs or like teeth, like pulling of teeth.
Yeah.
Like, oh god. Oh,
yeah,
god.
for sure. I got the notion from the Master and Baskin reminded me of the character in Under the Skin, where Scarlett Johansson picks up the guy with the deformity, and I was like, that definitely like they made me feel like it was like kind of like drawing from like the same kind of aspects where like you definitely want to like if you're like making a movie you want to like grasp like people's attention, you know what I mean, like you're gonna go for like those characters that are like abnormal, right? So I mean that's a big thing about body horror is that abnormality. So I definitely admired that. The Mind's Eye, I know you guys haven't seen it, but The Mind's Eye is definitely Joe Bigos, I think is his name, Bigos or whatever. He also did that other movie, Almost Human. But The Mind's Eye had a huge fucking like inspiration of Scanners for sure. Like it had a massive Scanners.
Oh yeah,
feel
no,
to
I
it.
definitely haven't seen that movie, but
the
I remember you
soundtrack
talking
was
about
really
it.
good. But yeah, it for sure those guys love Scanners. Like you can just tell when you're watching it. It was pretty good.
Cool.
Definitely The Thing.
Oh, The Thing I would say is like maybe in terms of like I know that David Cronenberg is like super influential, but like The Thing is like maybe one of the number one movies.
Oh, for
I
sure,
would say.
for sure.
Like it takes that shit to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
It's I would say I would
Yeah,
almost
it's
argue
number-
it is number one.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's definitely up there for me for body horror for sure because like everything that, even like when the guy's like stomach opens up and there's like teeth involved.
The
And, like,
motherfucking head turns into a spider and it
yeah,
runs
and then
away.
like the two
Like,
heads
fuck
like
that
morph
shit.
together, and like
I
there's
don't
like a
know.
Fuck
fucking
that shit.
like appendages coming out of the head, and he's like crawling like a spider.
I
like,
feel like I can argue that.
Really?
I genuinely feel like if we're talking body horror, like Cronenberg body horror, like where the psychological has a lot to do with it, I'm going to argue District 9. And I'm going to argue that hard.
Interesting.
that's a good movie.
Yeah, it's a fabulous movie.
Because it's just like The Fly. I mean, he turns into an alien. He starts, like, his
Oh yeah,
deserts
I haven't
him,
seen it in a
and then he
while.
ends up being on the alien reserve, right?
Yeah,
Because he
you're
looks
right.
Like, so I feel like
That was a great movie.
District 9 really puts you in that place where a human didn't mean to. All of a sudden, he's an alien who's being segregated
Yeah.
and hunted, and
Yeah.
his family won't talk to him, and he can't relate anymore, but he can't relate with the aliens either, so now he's segregated from both communities.
Hmm.
I don't know.
No,
That was a
From
I
a
really
think
good
that's...
psychological
movie.
point of view, I'd say District 9.
Yeah.
I mean, the body horror, the thing, yes, absolutely, as
Well-
far as transformation, but psychological, District 9, I think, had a lot of
Yeah.
interesting
Well,
points.
I feel like Cronenberg, with the way that he always sort of wanted things to be, like if he was like, if you would say he's like ground zero for that type of thing,
Right.
like there always was a psychological aspect to it that was very important in telling the story.
Yeah.
So I think that District 9, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I never
There's
saw
a
his
physical
other.
aspect to it, but also the psychological
Yeah,
aspect.
yeah.
That
I never saw his other movie, that Elysium.
I saw that movie.
Was it good?
It was whatever.
What's that? Whatever.
With
Whatever,
Matt
whatever,
Damon.
whatever. Matt Damon!
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon!
Well, let's say Matt Damon is cast in it, so you know what it is.
Oh well,
Whatever.
the movie where he's on Mars is pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. The Martian.
Actually, I'm pretty sure.
He farms poo or something.
Yeah.
Potatoes and poo.
Actually, I think what's his name? Oh my god, Neil deGrasse Tyson actually cited that movie being like one of like the most like accurate like science fiction movies.
Oh yeah, because that's probably what will happen.
What is it called again?
The Martian.
The Martian, right? Yeah. But yeah, no. Neil Blomkamp, who did District 9, also did that movie Elysium, and he also did that movie Chappie. But like,
Chappie,
I
right,
wasn't
right.
really sold on the trailer, so I just never watched it.
Elysium was okay. It was more like a science fiction, like, oh, like all the people that are like rich live like on the space station above the planet, and all the people that are not rich live on the shitty,
I
like,
remember.
Earth
So
that
it's
we've
more political,
destroyed.
it's like
Yeah.
less like body horror. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Because I was gonna say
It
like,
wasn't a
District
body horror
9,
movie
like
at
for
all.
sure, like when he starts to change and stuff. That's like some fucking
That's some
body
shit.
horror for sure,
Yeah,
definitely.
no.
Definitely Society.
I know, society's on my list.
I know, right? We're just like,
Whatever.
oh, of course, Society. Boobs on your back, okay.
Yeah, boobs on your back and like a
Yeah,
giant melting
butt face,
cheese of
like
an
your
orgy.
fucking head coming out of your mom's vagina.
Yeah, whatever.
you
I'm a
know.
butthead.
Yeah.
brr.
Bite.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Clearly.
Bite for sure. When I first watched Bite when it was out to rent, I got a very big The Fly vibe. Like when I watched it, I was like, I remember like telling Morgan, like I was
Yeah.
like, it's like you gotta watch it. Like it's like The Fly, but a female
Yeah.
instead of a male character.
Yeah.
Like it's awesome. It's we're friends with the producers
Yeah.
and director like Chad who made Bite. Like they're Canadians, and I had to like even ask them, like I was like, what did you guys use for the eggs? Because like they look like tapioca balls, but
They
they're
look
those
really
like
cool.
spit balls that you just like put in water and they grow.
Grow bigs. They're
Yeah,
grow bigs.
but
That's
yeah,
what they
she
are.
like there's a lot of similarities with Bite and The Fly.
Yeah,
like even
yeah.
with the fingernails, like her like when she takes her fingernails off.
I think that the thing I liked more about Bite than The Fly actually is her apartment,
yeah.
right? Because her whole apartment.
Yeah, because that gets
right,
Brundle Fly's
no
apartment is like
spoilers.
huge.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
her apartment gets really like you can.
It's
almost,
gross.
You can almost imagine the smell.
Yeah,
you know what
you're
I
right.
mean?
I know.
love
Yeah,
that.
I know. I love actually. The spit as well, like
Yeah.
is very Brundle Fly, like how
the
she
stinger
spits.
and like
And
like the-
yeah, and I love that they gave her a tail actually, because like that's like one thing that I was like, oh, you know, that's pretty innovative, because like I could see Brundlefly like having a tail, but she has a tail.
And I really don't
and
want to
Bite.
don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah.
So like I just want everyone to watch it so I can tell.
It's really
it's
good.
so
Like
good.
honestly, like it's just it's gross. And I like gross. So it was a great movie for sure, definitely. The Void.
That's on my list as
Oh,
well.
I forgot that one.
The Void.
For new
I mean, like
movies,
I was
for
gonna
sure.
say, we were talking about The Thing, The Void. The Void definitely is inspired by The Thing.
It's definitely borrows from it for sure.
Fuck.
I forgot all about that.
Dude, The Void, like, still, honestly, till this day,
Yeah.
like, blows my mind.
That one scene where like they're like in the hallway, that fucking like creature
Oh,
thing.
it's so good. That movie is amazing. Definitely, like, okay, when it comes to body horror, like, David Cronenberg is, like, one of the directors.
He's the king.
He's the king. He's the king. I would definitely argue that, like, as well, Stuart Gordon. Like,
You know what? I wouldn't even think that you would have to argue. I saw Stuart Gordon's name on a number of lists.
Oh, yeah. Dude, From
Yeah.
Beyond, especially From Beyond.
From Beyond is on my list.
And, like,
as well.
when his, like, fingers, like,
Yeah.
extend and get all gross and, like, grab
Yeah.
Barbara Crampton's boobs and shit.
creepy as fuck.
And, like, every time you see him, he's, like, more deformed and more pink and like, oozing.
But
and,
Yeah.
that's the
like,
thing is like the
that's also
directors-
very sexual, too, like,
and
and
like
From Beyond.
Lovecraftian, right? Like
Yeah.
any and Morgan on our drive up here, we were saying I literally have on my list, I didn't even bother listing them, I literally have basically any Clive Barker.
Yeah.
Like there's just directors who you don't even have to list their movies. It's like they all are the same kind of like horrifying.
They operate in that realm just like constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, like From Beyond was like
Yeah, for
totally,
sure.
I
For
mean,
sure, From
weird
Beyond.
things.
Like,
broke
yeah,
the
like
whole
every time you
movie.
see him, like, appear, he's, like, more and more abnormal,
Yeah.
less human.
so creepy.
And,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
like, for sure, definitely.
Oh,
Earlier,
man.
I watched The Kindred.
that?
And The Kindred is a movie from the 80s.
Yasmin was like,
Watch-
just watch
I
the
know.
last
I was like,
15
just watch
minutes
like
of
the
the
last
Kindred,
like 10
and I
minutes
was
of
like,
the Kindred.
okay.
It's so body horror. Like, it's basically like this like weird like alien kind of like thing in a jar, and it like impregnates a woman, I think, and then like, but it's like an egg, and like the egg hatches in a car, and like it has all these like tubes and shit, and it like strangles the lady driver, and then it's like out on the loose, but then at the end of the movie, it's just like this weird blobbish creature, but underneath it is an actual kind of man that like emerges out of it, and it's all slimy and
oh my god,
shit.
okay,
Like, it's
literally
great.
like
It's
the
awesome.
last 15 minutes
Yeah.
of that movie, I don't even know what the story was, but the last 15 minutes were literally the most compelling shit I've ever seen.
It was
like,
it was awesome.
it was like I think I texted you and I was like, it was just like explosions and like arms and limbs and fucking like, oh, it was like it was disgusting. It was
yeah,
so
it was
slimy.
awesome. It was great. Black Swan.
Oh.
Black Swan.
Interesting.
Dude, she like morphs into a swan. Like, especially the part where her knees bend like out, and at the end of the movie when she like grows the feathers and stuff on her arms. I love Black Swan. Black Swan is one of those like movies that's like beautiful. I
don't like movies that I don't understand. No, I love that movie.
she's going crazy.
But that's what I mean. It's like, are these things happening?
No, she's going crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, no, because I read
Just like
about
American
it after I
Psycho.
watched it.
Are
Yeah.
these things
No,
happening?
Black Swan is basically about a woman who is out of jealousy, like like becoming like actually crazy with jealousy, and like going and descending into a spiral of like madness and insanity, and she starts to like hallucinate and become an actual swan. And there's like one part where she is in her bedroom after like having a fight with her mom, and her like legs like bend and like crack backwards, like a how a swan's like legs actually go.
Yeah.
Oh dude, it's that movie actually, like we saw it in theaters.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
That's
like
great.
Darren Aronofsky, like oh my god, that movie was so fucking good. And especially the last scene when she is on stage like performing and stuff, like oh my god, it's amazing. I mentioned Jacob's Ladder earlier. That's a great movie.
That's a good movie.
That's a
That's
great
a
fucking
fucking
movie.
great movie.
Fucking Slither.
It's on the list.
Oh my god. Grant is Megan's boyfriend.
Yeah,
fucking like Slither, man.
Slither.
Like seriously, fucking Slither.
I didn't even know
That
who to
movie is
comment
so good.
Just the big like.
Dude, like at the end of the movie, it's like so society. Like honestly, is his name Sean Gunn?
I think.
Give me a second here.
I will say.
That sounds really familiar.
James Gunn, sorry.
Yeah.
Like fucking like James Gunn also is like known for like Guardians of the Galaxy. But I know him like as the man who made Slither. Like it's like that part at the end where it's like all the bodies are morphed together. Like that is like that is a direct like influence of society.
I was gonna say
It's
that's
gotta
some
be.
society
It's like yeah,
shit
like
right
that
there.
the last like the end scenes of Society and Slither are so fucking similar. But like oh my god, I love it. I love that part so much when they're all like like talking at the same time. Like what is Elizabeth Banks her character's name? Like Starla. Or like Starla.
Oh yeah,
Starla. Like they're all like talking at the same time and like morphed into each other and like a giant fucking
such a good
disgusting
movie.
slithery blob. Like Starla, I love you. That movie is so society. I appreciate Slither a lot. Also Nathan Fillion is adorable. Also Starry Eyes. Have you guys seen Starry Eyes?
Never seen it.
That's another movie where a girl goes through like transformations and mutations. That's a great movie. Do you remember, Morgan, we watched that movie Taxidermy?
You know what? It's really funny. And in my adventures of research, I was like, I saw Taxidermy and I was like, wait a second.
Yeah,
I remember this movie.
It's
and it's fucking weird. It's like a Turkish movie or something.
I don't know. It's
Is it Turkish? No.
No, it's from Holland or something.
I don't know. It was. I don't know how I would get Turkey and Holland mixed up.
And do you know what I think of when you guys mention that? Because I've never seen it, but like my imagination just starts going.
Hungarian,
this
sorry.
Well,
It's a
Hungary,
Hungary,
Turkey,
yeah.
whatever.
Oh,
That movie is fucked. Oh my god.
It reminds me of one that's on my list, Tusk.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
Tusk. Yes, for sure. I was gonna
Is
say.
it anything like that? I've never seen
Oh
it.
no.
but
Well,
I just
Taxidermy
imagine-
is an anthology, so it's like
Ooh.
three. I think it's 3 stories,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
The last story is obviously the best one, where the guy actually operates on himself.
Ooh,
Oh,
I
that-
love
that- I
But
heard
there's
that
like
shit
one
was
story
fucked
where
up.
like the
Love
guy was
that.
like morbidly obese.
Yes.
Love
I
that.
would love to watch it again.
Yeah, we should watch it again. Like Taxidermia was
Because we watched
Oh, that
it.
sounds awesome.
It was 2006. I think we watched it around that time. So it's literally.
Yeah, we rented it from Blockbuster.
Yeah, oh
actually,
my
I
God.
remember we totally rented
That's
it from
so
Blockbuster.
sweet.
Yeah,
so
yeah. No, Taxidermia is a fucked up movie for sure. If you haven't seen it and you want to watch something fucked up, watch Taxidermia.
Watch it. All right, and you have Tusk last on your list.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Also, I just want to say that Tusk was hilarious and awesome, but everything that Kevin Smith has done since then, like, is awful.
Ew.
Remember, like, the segment that he did for that Holidays
The
movie?
holiday movie, yeah.
What the fuck?
I never
Like,
did
what
see
the
it.
fuck?
No.
He did the Halloween segment. It had nothing
So
to
much
do with
potential.
Halloween. It had nothing
It
to
was
do with Halloween.
Just about hookers.
It was about, like the
sluts.
guy from Epic Mealtime
Yeah.
who is the pimp of hookers who do webcam. They're like webcam girls. I'm like, what the fuck does this have to do with
Like
Halloween?
literally, actually, the guy from Epic.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Like
it
from
is.
Montreal.
Yeah.
Yes, the bearded fucking, yeah.
That's weird.
So, and then he did that movie where his
Yoga?
daughter...
Yoga hosers?
Yeah.
I never saw it.
Like,
It didn't look
And Johnny
very
Depp's
good.
daughter too. was
Johnny,
in that,
yeah, like,
Mhm.
whatever.
Nah, I never saw
You're
it.
just
Yeah,
creating
whatever.
roles for your children. That's all you're doing.
I saw
at
the
this
trailer
point,
for
you know?
Yoga Hosers and I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to watch this.
Yeah,
But Tusk was very funny.
I
Tusk
didn't
was
see
hilarious. Dude, it's
Oh, you
fucked.
saw
He
it.
like becomes a
Yeah.
walrus.
It's disturbing though. It's another one
disturbing,
where, because
yeah.
it's a body horror, no matter what.
Yeah.
It's
He
it's
like
pretty fucked
makes
up.
a man into a walrus.
Anytime people are doing things to your body against your will is horrifying.
Yes.
It's pretty fucking
Yeah.
mental.
Well, what was that Antonio Banderas movie?
The skin I live in.
See, that is one that came up on the list, but I've never seen it.
You have to watch that movie. You know what? I'm sick and tired of telling you to watch that fucking movie.
Okay, I'm sorry, Megan.
Actually,
I'm gonna watch it.
It's interesting that you say that because literally I've been listening to her say that for like 10 years as well.
I'm sorry. I'll watch it.
So fucked up.
It came up in lists.
Is that would you claim that's a body horror movie?
That's got to be, actually, I take back District 9. I take back The Thing. That is for sure the most fucked up body horror movie.
I will watch it tomorrow.
In life.
I'll watch it tomorrow.
Also,
it's on Netflix, I'm pretty
Antonio
sure.
Banderas is so hot.
Desperado.
Seinfeld reference. Desperado.
There's your Seinfeld reference. I love that fucking episode so much. Oh, you mean Witch A Woman?
Oh, Witch A Woman.
She's like looking.
Do you guys have any other body horror movies?
My list only
Mention them all.
includes Otherwise Martyrs, which is kind of... I mean, I saw it on some lists, and only because, like, it involves, like, a transformation of sorts, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, through means of torture, so it's not necessarily, like, a horrible, like, disfiguring thing, but at the end, like, the end of that shit is, like, pretty, like,
Yeah.
body horrible.
Body horrible?
Oh, horrible. I love that.
That's great. That's awesome.
And also Alien and Aliens, like the Alien franchise I saw as well.
Yeah. Actually, you know what?
lot.
I thought about Aliens and the part where, in Aliens, when they find the host that's still alive.
Yeah.
That part.
Yeah.
That part is fucking terrifying.
Yeah, like there's some...
She's like, kill me.
Yeah, like there's some
it's
pretty,
fucked.
like, body horror elements of that idea, mainly just because, like, the alien
It's inside of your body
impregnates
and there's nothing you can do
people.
about it. Yeah.
And so, yeah, like, a lot of the, like, the chest burster, the, like, face hugger, all that stuff is all very body horror.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree.
so, yeah, those were the only other elements that I had to add to that. Everything else, I'm, like, in total agreeance. Like, fucking Society, The Thing, all those delightful movies, all great,
I had
all gross.
I had a couple that
All
I was
great.
like,
All gross.
I don't know if I want to say, but I feel like I'd be amiss if I didn't. House of a Thousand Corpses. Well, they make people into things. It's like Tusk, essentially. Like they have the fish man, right? Like
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. The guy
Like-
from Office. From The Office. I forgot about that. Yeah, you're right. Actually, you know, that, okay, I
had to say
we've
it.
talked about, like, Rob Zombie before, and, like, we're not huge fans of his movies,
Yeah.
but House of a Thousand Corpses, like, is kind of like a nostalgic movie for me because when it first came out, I was young and
Yeah.
I'm a huge White Zombie fan, and so, but to me, when I watch House of a Thousand Corpses, it's like watching a White Zombie music
Yeah.
video,
Yeah.
right? So it's entertaining in that aspect. But yeah, I totally forgot that they make that guy into, like, the fish boy.
Yeah.
Like, so that's pretty fucking body horror.
It's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, that is fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be pretty disturbed if that happened to me.
I don't know if I'd like that.
I don't know if I'd like to be a fish man.
No.
And I think the last one, which again was like on the line, was what's it called? You know, the guy who played the Joker in Suicide Squad, Jared Leto.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
And they're meth addicts. Then his arm gets
Requiem
cut
for a
off.
Dream?
Requiem for a
Yeah.
Dream.
Yeah.
Because you know his arm, because the injection site and they had to
That's
amputate
true.
his arm, and it just got real fucked up.
You know
That
what?
movie is super fucked
And then
up,
the
actually.
mom does the drugs, and then she
Ellen
goes
Burstyn.
through that
Yeah.
transformation. Of
I actually
being a
haven't seen that
crazy
movie in a
person
really
and-
long time, but you know what I like more than the movie? The soundtrack. The soundtrack is really good.
I like how you're like, you remember it.
Well, I wanted to mention just a couple video games. Dead Space. Yeah, I got really into playing Dead Space.
Like
and
body horror video.
Yeah, dude. Body
I
horror
didn't
video
know.
games. Dead Space
know about
is definitely, like, number one. A lot of people would probably argue, like, Resident Evil, but Dead Space, like, I got addicted to
never
playing
heard of
Dead
it.
Space. Oh my god, dude. The second and
What
third.
platform? What platform?
Well, I played them on PlayStation, but
That's too advanced for me. I'm sorry.
yeah. Well, I mean, I still play Nintendo,
I
but
know.
sometimes there's some good games out there on the newer platforms,
I
on
know.
those,
I know.
PlayStation 2s.
Oh, it's too much
But,
for me.
no, I got addicted to playing Dead Space, and Dead Space is awesome. It's like kind of like rabid zombies, but in space, and there's a lot of like, there's a lot of body horror in Dead Space for sure, because the creatures are like once human that were like infected, and they have like weird appendages, and it's really fucking fantastic. And but also the Bioshock games have a lot of disease in them, so there's a lot of there's a lot of infected people in Bioshock, and I got really addicted to playing Bioshock 2. I wasn't really into the third one, because the third one takes place like in the clouds, whereas like Bioshock 1 and 2 take place like underwater, so it has a very Guillermo del Toro kind of like setting to it.
Ooh, that reminds me, we should talk about the Oscars.
No, we
I
can't.
still haven't seen Shape of Water.
We can't talk about the Oscars. It's a 4-hour episode. Why are we gonna waste these people's time? These people don't care about the Oscars.
Yes, they do, because
cares about the Oscars.
listen to me. It matters, because horror
Finally
for
fucking
once?
won for
Okay.
best
You're
movie.
gonna call The Shape of Water horror?
Well,
I
and
haven't
Get
seen
Out,
it yet. I
Get
haven't
Out
seen it yet,
was
but
also
Get Out.
nominated.
Talk about
Okay,
Get Out.
and so to me it's relevant, especially to The Fly, because at one point before the Academy Awards were like announced in 1986, fucking what's his name? Gene Siskel said that everybody was like, Jeff Goldblum, he's gonna win, he's gonna fucking win. And Gene Siskel said that the reason that he didn't win was because he was blackballed from the Academy, because they
Because
don't
all the
recognize
old fucking
horror.
guys.
All these old fucks in the Academy
fucking voters like don't like horror movies,
don't
so that's why Jeff
respect
Goldblum
horror.
like wasn't nominated.
And that's why he wasn't nominated. And so I just found it very interesting now, this year especially, when we have so many horror movies actually being nominated, because it's like now horror is really the only genre where there's so much like there's so much like thinking going on, and there's just so many different aspects of an interesting I don't know, concepts that like people don't really think of. Like, it's like Get Out, what a fucked up concept.
Yeah, that
right?
movie was awesome.
And it's like, but it makes you think. It brings into perspective a lot of like societal questions, ideas, that sort of thing. And like Shape of Water as well won the fucking like best fucking movie of the year. I haven't watched it yet.
I think I'm gonna rent it. This
It's a lot.
weekend. I
It's
still
more
haven't
of a
seen
love
it.
story.
It's a romance, yeah.
It's more of a love story, but it also
It's a creature feature, though.
it also
Yeah.
takes elements from one of the more classic horror movies of all time.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because since he won, for years, like Guillermo del Toro's like obviously like a huge Lovecraft fan. He's always wanted to make At the Mountains of Madness, and like people are fucking like now that he's won. Now that he's won,
Please let him do
so many
it.
people on the internet
Let
are
him
like,
do
do it, fucking please do it.
Take
Like,
all your money and do
I
it.
know. Like me and Morgan, we went to go see the Guillermo del Toro exhibition at the TIFF in Toronto, and I was like, oh my god, like fuck, there was so much fucking awesome shit there. But honestly, my favorite character in any Guillermo del Toro movie is the Angel of Death from Hellboy 2.
Oh my god.
I cried tears of blood when I saw that fucking thing. Holy fuck. It's so badass. It's so evil. It's so fucking awesome. And like totally forgot that he also worked on the concepts of the costume design of in Dracula with Gary Oldman. And like the weapon, like the blade was there, the sword was there, like what a genuinely like adorable man.
Yeah.
He is adorable. He just like showed up to Fan Expo one year when I was there. Like unannounced. He just showed up. I didn't see him. I was like,
"Yo,
oh
hey,
my
I'm
fucking
here.
god.
Just
Yeah,
hanging
he
out,
just like showed
guys."
up. It was like, hey guys, hi. It's like, whoa, what are you doing here?
Whoa.
I know. But yeah, so we're about ready to wrap it up. This is probably our longest episode.
Oh my god.
Sorry guys.
Oh,
my
I'm
God.
sorry, but like I I was really excited about this episode because, like, as I said earlier, I'm a huge David Cronenberg fan and body horror in general. And it's like The Fly is very pivotal. You know, Morgan loves Jeff Goldblum.
He's a babe.
And she might propose to him when we meet him.
He's a babe.
So
cute.
Actually, I was like, man, like...
You should make him something. You should make him fan art or something.
Well, we
No,
could.
that's
You know what?
lame.
Maybe I'll bring my Legend of Sleepy Hollow VHS and get him to sign
Well,
it. And
that
he'll
would
be
be
like, "Why do you
delightful."
have this?"
Yeah.
You know what you should give him?
What?
You should give him a framed picture of yourself.
Oh my god.
Like, you're fucking, like, with confidence, you're fucking welcome.
Like,
buddy.
yeah,
Well,
that's
if
right.
he thought
Look
the
me
cheese
up.
master was interesting, then he'll find you fascinating.
That's true. That is very true.
He'll be like, "Hey, I also love cheese."
yeah.
You should find your favorite Jeff Goldblum outfit from any movie, replicate it, take a picture of yourself, and frame it.
Oh my god, and then give
Oh
it to
my
him.
god. Oh
What
my
what
God.
outfit would you choose? Would it be Dr. Ian Malcolm?
Well, because the leather jacket, yeah. Bop, bop, I like them leather jackets.
On that note,
Yep.
have a great evening. Thank you to everyone who listened to us. We
Everyone.
really just love that people actually listen to us. And yeah, we're going to take over the world.
Yes, goodbye. We're all going to take over here. Bye.
You'll have to get used to Dr. Malcolm.
So you two dig up dinosaurs?